Hey guys, welcome to Green Bean Fiction. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku became hero of Atlantis, the son of Aquaman? Movie. This story is The Hero of Atlantis by Makedonius. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe the channel if you are new so you won't miss our latest videos. Batman Pov. Me and Dick were sitting in the Batmobile. We were driving home from a mission as I saw the Bat-Symboli on the night sky over Gotham. Dick groaned as he saw it before falling back into the seat. Dick. We just came home from one mission. Bruce. It will be okay, Dick. We go there, hear out what they have to say, and then we can go home. Dick. If you say so. We drove towards the police department and stopped in front of it as Commissioner Gordon came out of the building looking surprised to see us. We got out of the Batmobile and walked up to the surprised commissioner. Gordon. Batman. Robin, what brings you here? Dick. Didn't you activated the Bat-Symboli? Gordon. No, I didn't. Looks up and sees the Symboli in the sky. Who turned it on? Bruce. Good question. That would be me, Batman. Me. Dick and Robin looked up and on the edge of the building stood Bruce. Deadshot. Dick. Oh come on, we just took down Grandy. Gordon reached for his weapon but I stopped him. Bruce. What do you want, Deadshot? Deadshot jumped down the building and stood in front of us. Dick went into a fighting stance but I put my arm in front of him and told him to calm down. Deadshot. I am not here to fight, little guy. Gordon. Why are you here then? Deadshot. For this. He handed us a file with the number 13 on it. Bruce. What is this? Deadshot. A file I got from a lab of Luther. Gordon. How did you get this? Deadshot. He recently hired me for a job and invited me to this lab. Bruce. Why betraying him then? Deadshot. I know I am a killer, Batman, but even I have my morals and standards, and what I saw in that was something you never want to see as a father. Dick and Gordon had a confused expression on their face. I was confused at first as well, but then caught on and opened the file he gave me, and the first page read Project Jormander. No one Pav. Batman was reading through the file while Gordon asked Deadshot directly. Gordon. What do you mean by that? Deadshot. Why don't you ask Batman? Robin and Gordon looked at Batman and saw something that scared them. They saw Batman with his eyes twitching while he took shaky breaths through his nose while he grinded his teeth. He looked like he was about to explode. Gordon and Robin took a step back from him out of fear, but Batman closed his eyes while closing the file. He took a couple of deep breaths before opening them again. He then looked at Deadshot. Batman. Is this true? Deadshot. I saw it myself. You could hear him through the entire lab. Gordon. What are you two talking about? Batman hands Gordon the file as he opened it and started to read, his eyes widening by every page he reads, and soon his face turned into one of pure anger and disgust. Batman. Where is the lab? Deadshot. Near Tokyo. He wanted this project as far away from you as possible in an old WW2 military tank production factory. Batman. How many guards are there? Deadshot. 100 at least. A lot of Japan's big shots villains like Muscular are there as well. Batman. Anything else? Deadshot. If you take the league with you, make sure that Aquaman is there. Believe me, you will need him. Batman. Why are you doing this? Deadshot. I am a father, Batman, and to see something like this. I may be a killer, but to see something like this. I never killed children. I am a father myself, and this, it just felt wrong to do nothing. Deadshot turned around and was about to walk away, but Batman put his hand on his shoulder, causing the sniper to turn his head. Batman. You know, deep down you are a good guy, maybe more than we all think. Batman took the hand off Deadshot's shoulder as the sniper continued to walk into the dark vanishing form sight. Batman turned around and took the file out of Robin's hand, who was reading through it, the 11-year-old having a shocked and sad expression on his face. Batman. Always remember one thing, this world is a cruel place and it always will be. Batman headed towards the Batmobile with Robin as Gordon asked, Gordon. What are you going to do? And Batman answered without hesitation. Batman. We are going to save him. After that, Batman jumped into the Batmobile followed by Robin. As they drove off, Gordon just stood there as he thought. Gordon mind. I always thought you were a good hero. All might. 2 days time skip. Tokyo. Japan. So doctor, how is our project doing? A voice came from a monitor of a TV. Doctor. It is going very well, Master. The body of the boy accepted the combination of quirks without any complications, and it went a lot easier than I thought, thanks to the scientist of Mr. Luthor here. On another TV we can see the face of Lex Luthor. He smiled relieved before he said, Luthor, to be fullest honest with you, at first I was afraid of giving him quirks since his body was mutated several times already. Doctor, if I can make a suggestion, sir, maybe we should give the boy more to eat. The boy is more bones than flesh. Even with all the powers he has, sir, he would stand no chance against people like All Might or Superman. I must agree with this one. The body of the boy is completely malnourished. Even with his enchanted senses, strength and speed, he would be no match for most heroes. Luthor. No, you see, the reason why we give him only one portion of white rice a day is that despite the pain and the torture we put him through, he still refuses to break. Doctor. But our work will be for nothing if the boy dies because of malnourishment. Luthor. The boy can't get sick and has a healing factor that allows him to heal 10 times faster as the normal person. He will survive, but if you insist, then give him 3 bowls of rice per day. One have to go now. I will contact you later to see how the new experiment went. The TV turned off and the doctor sighed. What bothers you, old friend? Doctor. Nothing, Master, but why do we have to work with him? Luthor is a very important asset for our plans, especially this project may finally help us reach our goal to take over Japan. Doctor. If the boy survives, he will now continue with your work. Doctor. Of course, Master, all for one. Izuku Pav. It has been 2 years since I am here, 2 years full of torture and experiments. Well, the other 5 years after I was diagnosed quirkless weren't much better, but right now I wished I never ran away from the Yagis. Well, one or the other way my life would still suck. I don't know what they did to me exactly, but I am not human anymore, that is what I can tell. My ears look like fins of a fish, I had gills on my neck, and my arms up to my elbows and legs up to my knees were covered in scales. Right now I was in my cell leaning against the cold cement wall. After the last experiment I just felt weaker than I ever have. Then the door opened and a guard came in with a glass of water and my daily bowl of rice. I looked up with a small smile since this guard was one of the nicer ones. He walked up besides me and put the bowl and water besides me before kneeling down. Nice guard. Hey, how are you feeling today? Izuku. I feel like shit. Nice guard. Still, man, what did they do to you this time? Izuku. I don't know, but it felt different than everything else they did to me before. Nice guard. That must suck. Here. The guard pulled something out of his pocket and handed it to Izuku. It was a chocolate bar. Nice guard. Sorry, I wanted to bring more, but they looked through my things before I came here. It's a wonder that they didn't found this. Izuku. It's 1,000 times better than just rice and water. Nice guard. Glad to hear. Anyways, I have to go before someone gets suspicious. Izuku. I know, thanks Rappa. Rappa. No problem, kid. Rappa left my cell as I started to eat my rice. I ate slowly and savored every bite. As I finished my bowl, one grabbed the glass of water and the chocolate bar Rappa brought me. I then stood up and walked towards my bed. I sat down on the hard mattress and started to eat my chocolate bar. That is all I did for the last 2 eating, getting a few hours of sleep and getting experimented on. I am 12 years old and my life until now was nothing else but pain. I finished my meal and put the paper of the chocolate bar under my blanket. Just as I drank my last sip of water, the door opened and 2 armed guards together with the new doctor walked into my cell. Doctor. Ah, I see that you have finished your meal number 13. I didn't answered. Doctor. Anyways, we let you rest for 2 days now. It is time we continue, don't you think? I didn't answered and just stared at him with a cold glare. Doctor. I see. Guards, take him to the experimentation room. The 2 guards walked past the doctor towards me. On had his gun pointed at me while the other one grabbed my arm and pulled me up before pulling me towards the doctor. The doctor then turned around and walked out of the door followed by me and the guards. We walked through the facility as we reached a large metal door. The doors opened and I was met with an all too familiar room. Doctor. You know the procedure, boys. The 2 guards grabbed me and pulled me towards the table. I tried to resist and at first I actually had some kind of success, but then one of the guards used the hilt of his rifle and knocked me out. The last thing I saw was that the ground we were walking on as they pulled me towards the table. No one pav. Doctor. Put him on the table and make sure he is secured. Guard. Yes sir. They laid Izuku's body on the table and binded him to the table. The doctor meanwhile prepared an IV bag with the orange liquid in it. He then walked back to the table where he put the IV bag on a stand. He then put a needle on the tube of the bag before injecting it into Izuku's arm. The liquid started to go through the tube and into Izuku, and 10 seconds after the injection Izuku opened his eyes and started to scream. Izuku. Ah. The doctor had a satisfied smile as he prepared another IV bag, this time with a green liquid, but before he could continue the alarms of the building went off. Doctor. What is going on here? The doctor dropped what he was doing and ran out of the room together with the 2 guards, leaving behind a screaming Izuku. As the doctor ran around a corner he could see several guards shooting down one of the corridors as a dark figure continued to walk towards them. The eyes of the doctor widened in shock as the figure stepped into the light, revealing no one else as the Man of Steel himself, Superman. Then a woman charged past Superman. We was blocking the bullets as she ran towards the line of guards, followed by a red-yellow blur. The guards were sended flying across the room as the doctor fell to the ground trying to crawl away, but before he could, someone grabbed him by his collar from behind and pulled him up. He then was slammed into a wall before being turned around to look directly into the eyes of the Dark Knight Batman. Batman. Where is the boy? The doctor didn't answer and just looked with fear at the hero. Batman. Where is he? Batman was about to punch him in the face, but he stopped as he heard screaming down the corridor. He then proceeded to punch the doctor in the face, knocking him out. Batman. Aquaman. Jones, you are with me. Flash, Wonder Woman and Superman take care of the rest of the villains. Batman started to run down the corridor, followed by Martian Manhunter and Aquaman. As they came nearer to the room where Izuku was, the screaming became louder and louder. As they reached the room they saw Izuku screaming on the table as he struggled to get out of the bonds. His ankles were bleeding while his eyes were rolled backwards. Batman and the other 2 immediately run towards the screaming boy. Batman pulled out the needle of the IV while Aquaman and Martian Manhunter held the boy down. Martian Manhunter then used his powers on the boy to knock him out without hurting him more than he already was. Aquaman and Batman then opened the bonds with what the boy was held down. Aquaman looked at the boy and saw his fin-like ears, the gills at his neck and the scales at the boy's arms and legs. Aquaman. What did they do to you? 10 minutes later. Wonder Woman, Flash and Superman were seen in front of the facility handing over the captured villains to the police. There also were medics and ambulances that looked at the villains, treating in those who need treatment. To the great surprise and dismay of the heroes and police, there also were several crew teams trying to get an interview with the heroes. Flash. Who called those guys? Wonder Woman. No idea. I kind of have get the feeling that those guys simply know when something happens and they are there in a flash. A policeman in a light brown coat came walking over to the heroes. Naomasa. Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, it is an honor to meet you. My name is Naomasa Tsukauchi. Do you mind if I ask you some questions? Superman. Of course not, officer. But before Naomasa could start with his question, Aquaman, Batman and Martian Manhunter came running out of the facility. Aquaman. We need a medic. Aquaman screamed as he ran towards the ambulance carrying a small boy in his arms. Naomasa's eyes widened as he recognized the green fluffy bush of hair in Aquaman's arms. Naomasa. Izuku. Aquaman ran into the ambulance and put the boy down on the bed of the ambulance. I forgot what the name of those beds are. Naomasa ran after them but was stopped by Batman. The ambulance closed its door and began to drive off with Izuku and Aquaman leaving behind the rest of the heroes. Together with a shocked Naomasa, Batman looked at the detective before saying, Batman. Do you mind if I ask you some questions? Musutafu. Same time. Izumi Pav. It has been 2 years since Izuku ran away. I can't blame him, we were horrible to him. Mom and Dad neglected him and punished him for even the slightest mistake, while me and big brother Atami made him our personal slave. School wasn't much better, even so he was the smartest and kindest person there. Me, Katsuki, Shoto and Shoka made sure that he never would have any friends. We even scared the teachers so that they would never ask questions. When they saw Izuku wounded and his uniform burned, they just sent him to the nurse office, probably the only place where Izuku found some kind of comfort. Big brother Atami now is a second year in UA and he will be a pro hero already when I join UA. We never told anyone of our aunties or uncles how we treated Izuku out of fear what could happen. As he ran away we said that he ran away because of being jealous of me and Atami. But they still were searching for him, especially Uncle Enji and Uncle Nezu. Both of them had a very close relationship with Izuku. They are still looking to this day. Today is my and Izuku's birthday. All our aunties and uncles are here to celebrate our birthday, or better said mine. Mom and Dad put a picture of Izuku on the table so that he is here, at least in our minds. Inko. Happy birthday Izumi. Atami. Happy birthday sis. All other. Happy birthday Izumi. I smiled at my family but then saw Izuku's picture on the table. Izumi. Happy birthday Izuku. Everyone in the room heard what I said and looked at Izuku's picture before also giving him a silent happy birthday. Just then Grandpa Torino spoke up. Gran Torino. Hey, how about we go to the living room until the pizza is here? Toshinori. Sounds like a good idea. We all went to the living room and sat down on the couch. All of the adults were talking to each other about various topics. That was until Grandpa Torino turned on the news. No one pa. News. We just got a report that the Justice League stormed a secret laboratory near Tokyo that was hidden inside a former WW2 tank factory. We now switch to our reporter at the scene. The picture then switches to a reporter that was standing outside the factory. News reporter. Thank you Ikasa. Anyway, we stand here in front of the former factory and we can see Superman, Wonder Woman and the Flash handing over the criminals to the police. There were also reports of AQ. The reporter was interrupted by someone screaming as the reporter looked towards the entrance of the factory as the camera zoomed in showing the scene. Aquaman came running out of the factory with something in his arms as he screamed for a medic. The camera zoomed in on what Aquaman was carrying in his arms. The entire family jumped up as they recognized Izuku's face. He looked so thin and fragile in Aquaman's arms. They also saw some of his changes. Izumi. Izuku. Inko. My baby. Toshinori. My boy. Nezu fell back on the couch as he looked to the ground. As he realized what probably happened to Izuku, he started to breath heavily. He got flashbacks of the time where he was experimented on, and to think that Izuku went through the same as he did made him breath even more as he slowly started to panic. Aizawa was immediately at his side and started to calm him down. Enji realized why Nezu was panicking. Enji. Please don't tell me. Ray. Enji. A phone could be heard as Toshinori pulled it out of his pocket. He saw that it was Naomasa. He answered. Naomasa. Toshi, we found Izuku. Toshinori. We know, we saw it on the news. In which hospital do they bring him? Naomasa. They bring him to the Tokyo State Hospital right now. Enji walked up to Toshinori and grabbed the phone from Toshinori's hand. Toshinori. Hey, Enji. Naomasa, what happened to Izuku? Naomasa. Izuku didn't ran away, he was kidnapped. Everyone's heart dropped as they feared the worst. Naomasa. They experimented on him, for 2 years, turning him into a weapon. The women in the room started to cry while the males were in complete shock. Atami had tears in his eyes while Izumi was already crying. Enji. You said Tokyo State Hospital, right? Naomasa. Yes. Enji. We will be there in half an hour. Enji ended the call before giving Toshinori back his phone. His wife ran to him and hugged him while crying into his chest. Enji hugged her back as he looked at anyone in the room. Enji. Let's go. Tokyo State Hospital. We can see Aquaman in front of Izuku's room together with the rest of the league, as Batman explained with what they experimented on Izuku. Aquaman. They experimented on him, with my DNA. Batman. Yes they did. Aquaman pa. I can't believe this right now. They experimented on the boy with my DNA. How the fuck did they even get so much of my DNA to do that? Maybe they got it from Black Manta. My last fight against him was pretty bloody and he managed to get away in the end. Maybe he collected some of my blood. Anyways, right now we have a different problem. Batman. The boy will have to go with you, Arthur. Aquaman. Why with me? Batman. A part of the boy is Atlantean now. Some of his powers also came from some sea creatures. If my theory is correct, then you are the only one able to calm him down in case he gets out of control. Martian Manhunter. Yes, if it is true what the files we found say about him, then he may be the strongest being on this planet. Superman. Stronger than me. Batman. Maybe. Batman talked to Martian Manhunter while I walked into the room of the boy. I opened the door and saw the boy laying on the bed peacefully sleeping. It was quiet besides the beeping of the monitor besides him. I looked at the face at the boy and he looked so peaceful. It must have been a while since the last time he could sleep without pain. I looked at the machines that were there and saw 2 IV bags that were connected with the boy. Both were probably filled up with painkillers. I touched his ears. Aquaman. They are really like fins. Just then I heard someone screaming outside. I turned my head to the door before walking to it. I glanced back to the boy before I opened the door and saw what was going on. I saw 4 people. One of them was older blonde man, 2 green-haired women and 1 green-haired boy. They were currently screaming at Batman and Superman, demanding to be let through. Superman. Not gonna happen. I walked out of the room and closed the door behind me without looking back, so I didn't saw that the boy has woken up because of the screaming. Izuku Pav. I woke up as I heard someone screaming. I opened my eyes and saw a white ceiling. Izuku. Where am I? I could hear beeping besides me and saw a monitor with numbers and lines on it. Then I looked a little to the left and saw IV bags and they were connected to my arm. I shot up and ripped them out as fast as I could together with the other tubes and strings. The screen besides me let hear one long beep that just continued. I looked around and saw a white room with a big window. I got out of the bed. What was pretty comfortable compared to my other one. I then walked towards the window as I could hear the screaming again. I turned around and looked towards the door, listening closely. The voices sounded familiar but from where I tried to remember, but then I heard a voice that I would recognize anywhere. Katsuki. Let us fucking through. Izuku. No, why is he here? My head began to spiral as I started to remember the beatings I received from Katsuki, the Todorokis and my siblings. It was getting hard to breathe. My vision became blurry and I sank to my knees as I remembered the beatings, the insults and everything. I then heard the voices coming nearer to the door. I tried to stand up, but as I tried I fell straight on my face. I tried to get up again only to find myself unable to do so. My legs also felt weird. I looked down and what I saw shocked me. Instead of my legs there was long fish-like tail. Izuku. Ah. No one Pav. We can see Superman and Batman standing in front of the Yagis blocking their way into Izuku's room. Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter and Aquaman just stood back watching the show together with the other people that came with the Yagis until a boy with spiky blonde hair spoke up. Katsuki. Let us fucking through. Superman. Watch your mouth, boy. Inko. Please let us trough. I need to see my baby. Batman. Your baby, according to the file. Izuku. Ah. Atami and Izumi. Izuku. Atami and Izumi tried to get past Superman but he stopped them while Aquaman and Wonder Woman ran to the door. Aquaman opened the door and immediately dodged a chair that came flying out of the room. He looked into the room and saw Izuku on the ground panicking, but the thing that shocked him the most was that instead of legs he now had a around 4-meter-long merman tail. Aquaman. John, we need you. Aquaman ran into the room followed by Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter. Aquaman dodged the tail as he ran towards the boy while Wonder Woman grabbed the tail and pinned it to the ground so that he wouldn't cause any more damage. Martian Manhunter came through the wall and floated towards Izuku, while Aquaman held the boy by his shoulder trying to calm him down. Martian Manhunter got on his knees beside Aquaman and pressed his hand against the forehead of the boy. Izuku continues to struggle and scream, but they soon faded as Martian Manhunter put the boy to sleep with his powers. Wonder Woman then let go of Izuku's tail as Aquaman lifted the boy up bridal style. Martian Manhunter used his powers to lift up the hospital bed that Izuku threw over in his panic. Aquaman then continued to lay the boy down on his bed. Then the Yagis finally managed to get past Superman and Batman and stormed into the room followed by their other family members, and what they saw shocked them to their core as they saw Izuku laying on the hospital bed with a 4-meter-long green-colored merman tail. Batman pushed past the shocked family and walked towards Aquaman. Batman. Do you see now why he has to go with you? Aquaman just nodded. Atami. What do you mean? My little brother isn't going anywhere. Izumi. He is going home with us. Superman. No, he won't. This time Nezu stepped forward and faced Superman. Nezu. They are his family. They have every right to take him home with them. Batman. They were his family. Batman stepped between Nezu and Superman, a file in his hand. That was when Endeavor spoke up. Endeavor. What do you mean they were? Batman. This is his file that we found during the raid on the lab. It not only contains all information about his powers and forms but also some interesting information about the Yagi family. Nezu. Could I please see the file? Batman gave the file to Nezu and Nezu opened and started to read it while Endeavor also leaned down to read with him. Batman. Those information are also the reason why old foe of you all might help Luthor. Toshinori. What do you mean what old foe? Batman. Tell me, do you know someone who can take and give quirks? Toshinori. You don't mean. Batman. Yeah, I mean him. In the file is stated that he successfully gave a combination of quirks to the boy, creating a new one. Ray. You mean the quirk caused this? Ray pointed at the tail of the boy. Superman. No, the quirk the boy got is a weather quirk. That what you are seeing here was caused through constant experimentation with quirk genes, Atlantean DNA and highly dangerous chemicals. Flash. In the lab and in the file he is labeled as Project Jormander. Aizawa. The world serpent from Norse mythology. Flash. Yes, just as Flash was about to continue, Toshinori was sent flying and crashed into a wall. Everyone minus the heroes of the League were shocked to see that Endeavor punched Toshinori. Inko. What the hell, Enji? Endeavor. You. Endeavor walked up to the smaller woman and grabbed her by the neck before lifting her up on eye level. Endeavor. You. How could you? He is your son, your own flesh and blood. Ray. Enji let her down. What has gotten into you? Ray tried to approach her husband but she was stopped by Nezu. She looked down to Nezu and saw him holding up the file for her to read. Nezu. Read this, then you will understand. Ray took the file and Mitsuki, Masaru, Natsuo, Fuyumi, Aizawa, Naomasa and Gran Torino joined her, standing around her reading the file with her. 5 minutes later. Ray. Get out of here now. Natsuo. Mom, please don't scream, we are in a hospital. Fuyumi. Shoto, Shoka, how could you do this? We thought he was your friend. Mitsuki. You fucking brat, if it weren't for you then Izuku wouldn't be in this state. Masaru. Aizawa. From all people in your class you were the most heroic one. Atami. Atami's head hung low as tears threatened to come out. Gran Torino. Get out now. Toshinori. Sensei, Gran Torino. Out now. Doctor. Sir, I called the security as ordered. Batman. Thank you. 8 security guards came through the door. 2 took Toshinori and the others took Inko and the kids and began dragging them out of the room. Izumi and Inko screamed a lot as they were dragged out. Shoto and Shoka just silently walked out of the room, followed by Katsuki with a TCH. Toshinori and Atami looked angry but didn't want it to cause any destruction, so they walked out of the door with their fists clenched. Ray. I can't believe this. Fuyumi. Mom. Ray sat down in the chair beside Izuku's bed, who by everyone's surprise didn't woke up by the noises. Naomasa. He lied to me all those years and I believed him. He kind of funny considering my quirk is lie detector. Just then a slap noise could be heard through the room. Everyone turned to look at Izuku and saw that his tail was moving a bit, and as they looked at his face they saw that his eyes were slowly opening. Ray leaned over and grabbed the boy's hand. Izuku slowly turned his head towards Ray with his eyes half closed. As he saw her, a weak smile came to his face. Izuku. Auntie. Ray. Izuku. Ray lifted the boy up a bit and hugged him. Izuku weakly hugged back before he hugged a little tighter. Izuku. This isn't a dream. Ray. No, you are free. Tears came to Izuku's eyes before he buried his face into Ray's shoulder and started to cry. The heroes of the Justice League left the room. They could talk to Izuku later. What the boy needs right now is his family, his true family. 1 hour later. Natsuo. So you are a merman now. Izuku. Kind of looks like it. Am I stuck like this? He asked while pointing at his tail. Nezu. No, according to your files you can transform back to having 2 legs, or you can transform into a serpent. Nezu stood on the bed beside Izuku as he put his paw on Izuku's shoulder. Nezu. Imagine of having legs again. Izuku closed his eyes and concentrated, but nothing changed, and Izuku slightly began to panic, but Nezu calmed him down, saying, Nezu. It's okay. Take a deep breath and concentrate. Izuku closed his eyes again and took a deep breath in and out, and as he opened them again he had legs again. He smiled and let out a relieved breath until he realized that he was naked. He quickly took the blanket from the bed and covered himself, while the others in the room started to laugh, while Izuku blushed embarrassed but soon giggled himself a little bit. They continued to talk and Izuku asked them what happened in those years while he was gone, but their reunion was cut short as someone opened the door. the family looked over and saw that Batman, Superman and Aquaman have stepped into the room. Batman: we are sorry to interrupt, but we need to talk to young Izuku here. Endeavor: has it something to do with the thing you talked earlier about Izuku going with you? Superman: yes. Aquaman: he is part Atlantean now and a big part of his powers are based on water. Batman: not only that, besides Martian Manhunter, the only one who can help Izuku in case he gets out of control and help him with his powers is Aquaman here. Izuku: what does that mean? Superman: we mean that you should go with Aquaman to Atlantis. It would be the best place for you to get control over your powers. Batman: it would also be the safest place for you to be since the villains can't reach you there that easily. It was silent in the room as Izuku just looked at the heroes and then at his family members in the room. Aquaman: of course you also can stay here if you want. Izuku: Gran Torino, can you promise me that those who hurted Izuku can't reach him there? Aquaman: I promise. Mitsuki: we just got him back. Masaru: honey, it's up to Izuku if he wants to go. Endeavor: we are happy with your decision, equally what you choose. Ray: yes, we are still your family and always will be. Tears came out of Izuku's eyes as he started to cry again as he then was hugged by his family again. He was sad to leave them so soon again, but was also happy that he always will have them as family. 3 days later. Today was the day where Izuku was able to leave the hospital and he was happy about it. He smelled medical supplies for years now and he was happy that he finally could breathe fresh air again. Right now he and his aunties and uncles, Fuyumi and Natsuo, were on their way to the place where the League was supposed to pick Izuku up. Natsuo: it's sad that you are already leaving us. Gran Torino: I have to agree, but it's for the best until we capture those villains. Endeavor: I am sure that you will love it in Atlantis. Mitsuki: and you should have no problems with finding new friends there. Izuku: are you sure? Masaru: of course we are sure. Izuku nodded as he was getting more and more nervous as they came nearer to the place where the League was about to pick him up. Fuyumi: it is kind of weird that Aquaman said that you don't need any things. Natsuo: Fuyumi, I don't think that he can wear normal clothes underwater. Aizawa: right, and I am sure that Aquaman prepared some things for him already. Just then they reached the location. It was in a park, and as they walked in they already could see Aquaman standing there surrounded by fans who wanted his autographs or pictures. Izuku and the rest of his family decided to stand back and wait until the fans were gone. After that Aquaman approached them. Aquaman: sorry for the wait, I didn't expect it to be that popular here. Natsuo: all heroes of the Justice League are popular here. Aquaman: I saw that anyways. He looked at Izuku. Aquaman: are you ready, Izuku? Izuku just nodded and then turned to his aunties and uncles before hugging them as they wished their goodbyes. Aizawa: watch out, problem child. Izuku nodded and then turned to his last uncle. Nezu: Izuku. Izuku got on his knees and hugged Nezu as Nezu hugged back tightly before letting go. Nezu: Izuku, remember what I said. Scars aren't always a bad thing, it means you survived. Izuku nodded before hugging Nezu again. They hugged each other for a couple of minutes before they let go of each other. Izuku stood up and gave a determined nod to his uncle and the others before turning to Aquaman. Aquaman: are you ready? Izuku: yes, goodbye everyone. All. Bye. Gran Torino. And call us from time to time. Izuku: I will. Aquaman turned around and walked towards the lake followed by Izuku. As they stood in front of it, a portal opened and Izuku flinched backwards. Aquaman: no fear, Izuku, this is a Zeta tube, this will bring us to Atlantis. Izuku nodded before turning his head towards his family again. He waved at them and they waved back before he closed his eyes and followed Aquaman into the portal. Izuku felt as if he was flying or something. He opened his eyes and saw that they weren't on the surface anymore, they actually were in some kind of cave underwater. He saw Aquaman swimming in front of him, motioning him to follow. Aquaman then turned around, swimming towards the entrance of the cave. Izuku swam after him. What actually wasn't as hard as he thought, but it felt weird breathing through his gills. Izuku saw that Aquaman was far ahead of him, so he decided to transform into his merman form to see how fast he was with it, and to say the least he was a lot more faster than before. He then stopped beside Aquaman at the entrance. Izuku: wow, Aquaman. Welcome to Atlantis Izuku, your new home. No one paw. We can see Aquaman showing around awestruck Izuku. The people of Atlantis were greeting their king. But as they saw Izuku, many eyes widened in awe. They never saw someone with a 4-meter-long fish tail with scales that were shining like emeralds. Many people watched after the two, but Izuku didn't care as he listened to every word Aquaman said about the city, and soon enough they were in front of a giant palace building. Aquaman swam towards it as the guards at the front gate bowed to greet their king. Izuku stood back first of all because of the beauty of the palace, and second, he was getting extremely nervous and anxious right now. You see, Izuku had problems trusting people, even his uncles and aunties. For example, one time in the hospital a new nurse brought food to Izuku because Natsuo wasn't there and he refused to eat it. They had to call in Natsuo from his free day because Izuku wouldn't touch the food or take his meds. Natsuo wasn't angry though. He said to Izuku that he should have guessed that something like this would happen. So you can imagine how he feels right now. New people, he didn't know anybody besides Aquaman. Aquaman realized that Izuku wasn't besides him anymore and stoked he turned around to the boy. He saw Izuku's face and saw that he was afraid, so he swam up to him and put a hand on his shoulder. Aquaman. It's fine, nobody here is going to hurt you. Quote. Izuku. Aquaman. I promise you that you will feel at home in no time. Izuku. Really? Aquaman gave a bright smile and nodded. Really? Aquaman then swam besides Izuku and put a hand on the teen's back, and they started to swim towards the entrance. The guards opened the gate and they swam inside. The faces of the guards were covered by their helmets, but Izuku could feel their eyes on him, but he couldn't tell why. As they entered, the palace servants were seen bowing to their king to greet him, but then there was a female voice calling out to them. Orin, what took you so long? Izuku looked up and saw a woman with long red hair and what looked like a golden face, part of a helmet. Aquaman. Mera, my love. Izuku tilted his head in confusion as he couldn't understand what they are saying, while Aquaman swam up to his and gave her a quick kiss on the lips. They then started to have a conversation in a language that Izuku couldn't understand. While they were talking, Izuku looked around. The palace was on the inside even more impressive than from the outside. Izuku was ripped out of his thoughts as a voice called out to him. It was Aquaman. Aquaman. Izuku, could you get over here please? Izuku looked towards Aquaman and saw the hero looking at him with a smile. His wife also looked at Izuku with a curious face. Izuku gulped as he swam towards the two royals. As he was in front of them, he bowed towards Mera. Mera. Welcome to Atlantis, Izuku. Izuku. S. Sorry, but I can't understand what you are saying. Mera. He can't understand us. Aquaman. Oh yeah, I nearly forgot about that. Mera sighed as she lifted up her hand and a purple light started to come from them. Mera. Tutoi Duter. A bright purple light filled the room, causing Izuku to close his eyes. As the light was dying down, he opened his eyes again. Izuku. What was that? Mera. That was a translation spell. Izuku. Huh? Mera. Hello Izuku, my name is Wymera Zbelachala and I welcome you to Atlantis. Izuku. Oh sorry, my name is Izuku, it's an honor to meet you. Mera. It's nice to meet you as well, Izuku. Orin here told me that you would be staying here with us from now on. Izuku. Why? Yeah, sorry in case I caused any problems. Mera. No, it's okay, Orin already told us that you would come, so we had time to prepare a room for you. Izuku. I am sorry, but who is Orin? Aquaman. That is me. That is my name here in Atlantis, but my birth name is Arthur Curry. I got my name as I became the king of Atlantis. I don't know anymore how he got his Atlantean name. Izuku. Oh, I am sorry. Aquaman. No need to be sorry, Izuku, you just didn't know. Mera. You can also get a new name if you want, after all you begin a new life here. Aquaman. But you don't need to choose one immediately, you can choose one when the time is right. Izuku nodded as he just looked down as he thought about choosing a new name, but he was ripped out of his thoughts as he heard some of the servants talk. Servant. His tail looks like it's made out of emeralds. Servant 2. It's beautiful. Did they just compliment him? Izuku thought this was the first time that somebody besides his family complimented him. He was surprised to say the least, but he then had to look up as someone called his name. Mera. Izuku? Izuku. Why? Yeah, Aquaman. We just have to do a medical check on you if that is okay, and no fear, there won't be any needles or IV bags. Izuku. Oh, why? Yeah, it's okay. Mera, then please follow me. Aquaman and Mera swam ahead as Izuku followed. They swam down a corridor and reached a door. Mera stopped in front of the door and opened it and swam inside. Aquaman signed for Izuku to go inside and Izuku swam inside followed by Aquaman who closed the door behind them. Inside the room was an older man with weird gray upstanding hair, beard and mustache. Mera. Volko the boy is here, the one you should do the check on. The man turned towards Izuku and Izuku backed up a little bit as the eyes of the man met his. The man of course saw that and smiled at Izuku. Volko. Sorry if I scared you. You must be Izuku, right? I am Volko, it's nice to meet you. Izuku. It's nice to meet you as well, Mr. Volko. Volko. Just call me Volko kid. Izuku. Oh, okay. Volko. Would you please sit down there? Volko pointed towards a stone-like chair and Izuku swam towards it, sitting down on it, but that became more difficult than he thought. His tail was getting in the way and wouldn't let him sit down properly, so he decided to turn back to his legs. Even so, his powers were new to him, he at least had a pretty good control over his merman transformation. Mera and Volko looked surprised. They obviously thought that Izuku's merman form was his only form. Izuku also really fast covered himself. He mentally facepalmed. He forgot that he doesn't have clothing that transforms with him. Izuku. S. Sorry about that. Volko. No need to apologies kid, but could I ask you what you are? Izuku. I am. Was human, now I am just a former lab rat. Mera looked at her husband with a shocked expression while Aquaman just looked at the ground. Volko on the other side had a serious expression on his face. Volko. I am sorry if this question was too personal. Izuku. No, it's okay, you didn't knew. Volko. Okay, well, shall we continue? Izuku. Yes. The rest of the medical exam went without any issues. Volko of course saw the scars that were all over Izuku's body, most of them of course on his arms, but most of them were covered by his scales. But one thing stood out to him, so he had to ask another question. Volko. Izuku, those scars on your arms, legs and chest are from injections, right? Izuku. Most of them, yeah, some are cuts and some are burns. Volko. I understand, but I wanted to ask, why are they bigger than normal injection wounds? Izuku. Well, you see, one of the experiments they did on me was hardening my skin, but they were confronted with a problem after that. My skin was so hard that they couldn't get any normal needles through, so they got bigger ones, what are normally used for elephants, and then shot them into my arm. After that they didn't allow my wounds to heal, so that they can just put the needles in my open wounds. Volko. I understand, thank you for the answer. After another 10 minutes the medical check was over. Volko. Thank you for being so cooperative. Izuku, now would you be so kind and wait outside the room so that I can have a word with the king? Izuku. Oh, of course. Izuku swam towards the door while transforming into his merman form again. He opened the door before taking on look back, looking at Aquaman, who gave him a confident smile. After that he swam out and closed the door behind him. 10 minutes later, we can see Izuku outside the door, playing with his fingers as he started to get nervous. It has been 10 minutes already. What were they talking about for so long? They didn't left him here, did they? No, the room only has one entrance. They would have to get out of this door. The worst thing though was that he was in a new place with new people he didn't know anything about, and everybody that swam past him stared at him with big eyes until someone called out to him. Hey you. It was the voice of a boy. Izuku turned around and saw a boy and a girl swimming. Izuku. Yes, do you need something? The girl spoke up. Yes, do you by any chance know where King Orin and Queen Mera is? Izuku. Oh, they are in the room. I am waiting here for them. The boy lifted an eyebrow before asking. Why are you waiting for them? Izuku. Well, I am new here and Aquaman was the one to bring me here. We just made a medical circa check and then Volko wanted to talk to them and I am waiting here now for 10 minutes. Oh, okay, do you have something against it if we wait here with you? Izuku. Of course not. The three of them then waited before the door, not talking for 2 minutes, until the girl finally asked. What is your name, by the way? Izuku. My name is Izuku. Nice to meet you, Izuku. My name is Tula. Tula smiled at Izuku and he smiled back. I am Calderam, but you can just call me Calder. Nice to meet you. Izuku. It's nice to meet you both, Tula. So you said you are new here in Atlantis, so where did you came from? Izuku. I come from Japan. Calder. Japan isn't that a country in the Pacific? Izuku. Yeah it is. Tula. Wow, I never was in the Pacific, how is it there? Izuku. The Pacific. Well, I don't know. Tula. You don't know? Izuku. Well, I was kind of occupied the last 2 years. Tula was about to ask another question but was stopped by Calder, who has catched on. Calder. You don't need to tell us if you don't want to. Izuku. Thank you. Just then the door opened and Aquaman, Mera and Volko came out. Calder and Tula. My king. Aquaman. Calder, Tula, what brings you here? Calder. Some nobles and the elders wanted to talk to you about something, my king. Aquaman. They always want something from me. Well, it's not good to let them wait. Mera, my love, could you please show Izuku his room? Mera. Of course. Aquaman and Volko swam down the corridor towards the throne room, while Calder and Tula stood back with Mera and Izuku. Mera. Then let's go, Izuku, I will show you your room. Izuku. Thank you, you didn't need to. Mera. Of course I have to, it's no problem at all, Izuku. Mera said with a smile. Calder. Wait, he will live here in the palace? Mera. Yes, he will, Calder. You see, Izuku is a special case. Tula. Special case? What kind of special case that he is allowed to live in the palace? Mera. Well. Calder. Wait, has it something to do with that raid on that lab where the king was part of? Izuku. Yes. I was the reason why they raided the lab. Tula. What do you mean you were the Ray? Tula's eyes widened as she catched on. The same goes for Calder. Izuku. I wasn't born like this. I was made like this. I used to be a normal human. Time skip 2 weeks later. Izuku Pav. Tula. Oh my god. Izuku, Calder, you got to try this. It has been 2 weeks since I came to Atlantis and well. Things are going great, for once in my life. My room in the palace was big. Bigger than my old room by the Yagis and definitely bigger than my cell room in the lab. Everything in my room was new furniture, new clothes and even new books. I forgot what they had in Atlantis that replaced books. Well, those books mostly were about the history of Atlantis and the other 7 kingdoms and how to write and read the Atlantean letters and alphabet. I even asked Volko for a book with Atlantean names. I found a few that sound good, but I haven't decided which one I will take. Other than that, Tula and Calder were also a great help for me in the last 2 weeks. They showed me around the castle in Atlantis. We became friends really fast, something I wouldn't have thought would ever happen. As for Mera and Arthur, yes, he allowed me to talk to him with his name. I only knew them for 2 weeks now, but they already did more for me than my blood family. Even so, Arthur has a lot to do because of his duties as king and hero, and Mera, she was there for me as I needed comfort or had a panic attack, what happened quite a lot in the last few days. Mostly because I heard from Arthur that the villains that experimented on me were searching for me. One time I had a panic attack in my room after a nightmare. Mera wasn't there at that time, but as she found out, she hugged me and apologized. She also beat up Arthur after he told me that the villains were searching for me, screaming that he shouldn't tell me that. It was quite hilarious to watch. Anyways, today was a festival in Atlantis where traders and shows from all the 7 kingdoms gather in Atlantis to sell goods or to put up a show. It is like the expo on the surface. Right now me, Tula and Calder were swimming through the stands where they sell snacks and sweets, and Tula, well, she was literally in paradise. Tula. Can I have 3 of those? Stand owner. 3 kelps, that makes 3 Atlantean crowns. Yes, that is their currency, please. Tula handed the stand owner his money and the owner handed her 3 chocolate-looking bars. Only that it was green and the wrapping wasn't made of plastic. She swam back to us and handed me and Calder one of the bars each. We then continued to swim through the festival while eating a kelp bar. I stopped at one show that looked interesting. It was going about a boy that lost everything, but he overcame the obstacles in his way and pushed away the pain of his past and gained much more than he ever wanted. I watched the show with great interest while Calder and Tula were besides me also watching. As the show was over, everyone clapped for the actors and we continued our way through the festival. Tula then asked, Tula. Hey Izuku, I know it has been only 2 weeks, but did you already choose a new name? Izuku. To be quite honest with you, yes I have. Calder. Oh really, what did you choose? Tula. Oh, is it Gravith or Izuku? You already know the name. Tula and Calder. Huh? Izuku. We just heard it in the show. Tula and Calder were thinking, but they had no idea, so I said it. Izuku. My new name is Deku. Calder. Like the boy from the show we just watched. Izuku. Yes, I already knew the story of the show. Volko gave me the book, and as I was reading it I was sure. Tula and Calder stopped while I swam in front of them. Izuku. My new name is Deku, the boy that lost but will have it all. Izuku Pav. It has been 8 months since I came to Atlantis and things are just going up for me. Calder took me to the training grounds where the soldiers of Atlantis are trained, and it was cool to watch, to say the least. Arthur and Mara also official adopted me, and now I am Izuku Kuri, also known as Prince Deku now. I wasn't the crown prince, but I don't care looking at Arth. Dad being king is one hell of a job, but me. Mom already told me that I will have political duties in the future, which I am honestly not looking forward to. Well, for now me and my friends were playing catch. I was in my normal form, and even in that form I was faster than them. My secret, well, I improved my water control quirk, so I was controlling the water around me to push me around faster. Luckily Calder and Tula don't know, or they would think I am a cheater. Well, technically I am, but they don't need to know. Tula. Why can't I get you, Izuku? Why are you always going after me? Go after Calder for once. Calder. Oh hell no, I just was the catcher. Just as I was swimming away from Tula, I saw something from the corner of my eye. That distraction was enough for Tula to catch me. Tula. Got you. You are? Huh? Tula also looked to the direction of where I was looking. Calder. What is it, you two? Izuku. Is that a person? No one, Pav. All three of them looked towards the person and saw that it was a she and that she was bleeding. She looked scared as she tried to swim as fast as she could. She had long green hair and a round face with her tongue sticking out a little bit. Izuku. Calder and Tula swam as fast as they could towards the girl, and as they came nearer they saw that something was following her. It was a creature half shark half human, and he was swimming after the girl. Calder was shocked to see that guy. Calder. King Shark. Shit, Izuku, swim back and get King Orin. Izuku. Izuku didn't listen and transformed into his merman form, and he was off like a torpedo. Calder. Shit, Tula, get the king, the first will help Izuku. Tula. Okay. Tula turned around and swam towards Atlantis, while Calder got out his water bearers and swam after Izuku as fast as he could. With Izuku, King Shark was about to get the girl he was hunting until he saw a white stream coming towards him. He stopped and tried to block the incoming object, but he was hit full force, sending him backwards before he could stop himself. As he regained his balance, he looked in front of him and saw a boy with green hair, fin-like ears, green eyes and a freckled face. King Shark. And who are you? Izuku. None of your business. King Shark. That weird name. Izuku. What do you want from her? King Shark. I am hungry and she smelled good. Izuku. What the? You are not going to eat her. King Shark didn't. He took that very good as he charged towards Izuku. Izuku dodged his attack, but King Shark grabbed his tail and started to swing him around like a lasso before slamming him into the ground. Izuku coughed up some blood by the force he was slammed into the ground. He opened his eyes and saw just in time King Shark coming towards him with his mouth open. Izuku rolled out of the way, causing King Shark to smash into the ground where Izuku lay just seconds ago. He then jumped and smacked his tail across King Shark's face. But King Shark grabbed his tail and bited down on it. Izuku screamed in pain as he tried to get his tail free, but King Shark just bited harder. But before he could bite off Izuku's tail, he was hit with what looked like a water hammer. King Shark let go off Izuku's tail as he was sent backwards. Izuku gritted his teeth in pain as King Shark was now going after Calder. Izuku then saw the girl from before at the corner of his eye and saw that she struggled with breathing, so he swam over to her as fast as he could with his injured tail. Izuku. You okay? The girl just shook her head and pointed towards her mouth. Izuku understood what she meant. The girl couldn't breathe underwater, she just was holding her breath. As Izuku took a closer look at the girl's features, and he must say she was quite cute. Izuku. Do you have a amphibian quirk? The girl nodded her head. Izuku was about to ask another question as he heard a loud bang behind him. He turned around and saw that King Shark just punched Calder to the ground and was now standing over him. Izuku took off and swam behind King Shark as fast as he could. King Shark was about to bite down on Calder but couldn't as he felt an arm going around his neck and a tail binding around his legs, binding them together. King Shark struggled as he tried to get free. He would slam into a rock with his back if his legs weren't binded together, so he tried first to get his legs free, but as he did that he could feel how the grip around them got harder and harder. He tried to get free from the headlock, but as he tried he didn't saw that Calder got up again and grabbed his water bearers, but as he saw it was already too late as another water hammer hit him in the stomach. He was being chalked and the air was knocked out of him. King Shark slowly lost on strength as he did not have any air left in him. He still struggled against the grip in an attempt to break free, but it became less and less before he finally fainted. Izuku let go of King Shark as the one sank to the floor of the ocean unconscious. The girl swam over to Izuku and so did Calder. The girl wanted to see if he is okay, but also because she was slowly running out of air. Calder. Izuku, are you okay? Izuku. Yes, thanks to my healing factor the wound has already started to close, so I am good, but... Calder. Huh, Izuku. She needs air. Izuku said, pointing at the girl. Calder. Oh shit, here. Calder used his powers to create a big bubble where the girl fell into. She took a deep breath in and out several times before she bowed on her knees towards the two boys. Thank you so much for saving me, I thought I was going to die. Calder just tilted his head in confusion as he couldn't understand the language the girl was speaking, while Izuku's eyes were big in surprise. Izuku. You are Japanese. Yeah, wait, you too. Izuku. Yes, but I live in Atlantis now. Oh, my name is Izuku Curry. Calder. What are you talking about? Izuku. Oh, I just introduced myself to her, she is Japanese just like me. Calder. Oh then, my name is Calderam, nice to meet you. I am Suyu Asui, it's nice to meet you as well. Calder. Well, I understood what her name was at least. Izuku. A question, Asui, but how did you come here? I mean, how did you end up here? Suyu. Well, me and my family were at a vacation at Pearl Harbor and me and my dad got into a fight with each other. After our fight I went for a swim to cool down and I kind of lost track about how far I swam away, and as I realized that shark guy attacked me. Izuku. I understand. What is your quirk? A normal human would have been killed by the water pressure alone down here. Suyu. My quirk is frog, it allows me to do everything a frog can do. Izuku. Oh really, that is a cool quirk. Suyu. You really think so? Izuku. Yes, I mean there are a lot of frog species on this world and your quirk doesn't say that you're bounded to one species, so. Tula. Kaldur, Izuku. The two boys turned towards the voice and saw Tula together with Aquaman and some guards swimming towards them. Tula stopped in front of the two boys, while Aquaman was surprised to see that his adopted son and his sidekick managed to take down King Shark by themselves. He then looked at the girl in the bubble who was looking back at him before bowing. While the four guards that came with Aquaman contained King Shark, Aquaman swam over to his son and his friends. Aquaman. Good job against King Shark. Calder. Thank you, my king. Izuku. Thank you, Aquaman. But it was extremely dangerous, especially from you, Izuku. You should have let Tula fight. Izuku. What? Why? Aquaman. You don't have the training or experience to fight an enemy like this and you brought yourself and Calder in extreme danger. If you would have let Tula fight, then Calder wouldn't stand here with a broken nose and you wouldn't be wounded. Izuku. I just W. Calder. My king, if I can say something, but Izuku showed great bravery and strength and it was his doing what at the end brought the victory over King Shark. Even so he acted without thinking this victory is his. Izuku looked at his friend in surprise, but Calder just smiled at him and Izuku smiled back. Time skip. Izuku's dream. Izuku Pa. Izuku. Where am I? I looked around but there was just water around me. I looked down and saw nothing but darkness beneath me. I swam around trying to find something but there was just endless water, no fish, no sign of life. Izuku. Hello, is there somebody? I started to panic but then I felt something behind me. I turned around and saw the biggest creature I have ever seen, or more the shadow of it as it swam towards me. I wanted to swim away thinking it would eat, but I couldn't. My limbs didn't want it to move, but then it stopped moving and I got a good look at the creature. It was a serpent dragon with blue scales, golden womb scales and silver hair and beard. So you were the one that I could feel. Who are you, boy? Izuku. Izuku. I am Izuku Curry, sir, dragon, sir. Well, Izuku, do you know why I pulled you into this dreamscaper? Izuku. No, sir. Well, you see, I saw what you did today and I heard the oath that you made to yourself months ago, so tell me, what is your biggest desire? Izuku. My biggest desire? Why is that important? It is important to me now, answer. The dragon growled towards Izuku. Izuku. My biggest desire? That I never want to be weak again. Question mark, colon, comma, quote. Izuku. I never want to be weak again. I want to be strong so that I can protect my friends, my family, and that I can prove those who treated me like an outcast wrong. I want to prove to them that I am better than them, that I am a better hero and human than they will ever be. I screamed the last part at the dragon, who took it in. After that it was silent, just the breathing of the dragon was heard until he started to laugh. I was confused. Was he laughing at me because he thinks I am weak, or that I am just a loser, or what? Ha ha ha, I was right about you. You are worthy, ha ha ha. Izuku. Worthy? Worthy for what? To be my student, to be my champion. Boy, I can give you what you desire, strength and bravery, but it comes at a cost. You will have to work for it, so what do you say? Izuku. What do I say? I don't even know who you are. That is true. Well then. I am Ryujin, the Dragon King, sea god and master of serpents, so what do you say? Will you be my student Jormander? What? He is who? Okay, I am going crazy, I thought, but then again, when this is really Ryujin, then he can help me in ways nobody can. Should I risk it? Should I really risk it? Ryujin. So do you take my offer? Izuku. Ryujin. Izuku. Why, yes, I want to be your student so I can get stronger. Ryujin. Good, that is what I wanted to hear, so how about we start your first lesson right now, but for that you will need your third form. Izuku. But I don't know how to control, or if I even can control it. Ryujin. Then let me help you. I felt my body transforming. I could feel how my arms and legs were sucked into my body as my torso grew and grew. It didn't hurt, it just felt weird, extremely weird, and then it stopped. I looked down on myself and saw that I was covered in scales and that I now was nearly as big as Ryujin. Ryujin. Welcome to your new form, Jormander. 3 years later, Izuku is now 14. Izuku Pav. It has been 3 years since I started my new life here in Atlantis, and a lot of things have changed in that time. I was taught by Volko and trained by the elite commanders of Atlantis, and of course by Ryujin. I never told anybody about my secret sensei, not even dad or mom. Mostly because I didn't know how they would react if I tell them that a mythological creature trains me, but I also think they kind of guessed that I have a secret teacher, mostly because one time I transformed into my serpent form and had perfect control over it. That is quite a funny story. You see, Calder and Tula wanted to prank me, and well, they had success. They scared me so much that I actually transformed into my serpent form. Not full length, but I was at least 100 meters long. Sad part is I destroyed a part of the palace and the entirety of Atlantis got a heart attack. Anyways, what else happened? Oh yeah, Calder together with the other sidekicks of the Justice League heroes founded a new team called Young Justice. Together with a Superman clone they freed from a lab, the niece of Martian Manhunter and the new sidekick of Green Arrow also already joined the new team. And today was my day to join. It would be a lie if I say that I am not nervous, because first I wasn't on the for 3 years, and second because I am meeting new people and I am not good with socializing. You may think that as the new prince of Atlantis I should be pretty good with people, but no, I am really bad. Besides mom and dad, the only other people I talk to on a regular basis are Volko, Tula and Calder. The reason why I am not good at socializing is because of my status as prince. I may not be the crown prince, but I have a lot of people that try to get on my good side, and it gets on my nerves. One time we had a guest from the surface, and that was a new ambassador from China. I also call my uncles and aunts once or twice a month to hear how they are and what is going on back in Japan. How it seems not much has changed at all. Ass might still #1, even so a new hero is climbing up the ranks pretty fast, and that new hero is a Tommy, that shithead. Anyways, where was I? Oh, right now today is the day where I am joining the Young Justice team, so let's get to it. No one paw. We can see Izuku in his normal form swimming up and down his room as he gets over the things he needs over and over again. He then stopped and sighed in frustration as he. Izuku. Bow staff here, my dagger, is on my belt okay. I think I have everything. Just then there was a knock on the door. Izuku swam over and opened the door to see his father and best friend. Izuku smiled at them and they smiled back as Aquaman asked. Aquaman. Are you ready, Izuku? Izuku. As ready as I can get. Aquaman. Good, then let's go, the team is waiting for you. Aquaman swam in front as Calder and Izuku swam behind him. Calder, seeing the pale face of his best friend, then asked. Calder. Are you okay? You are quite pale. Izuku. Yeah, I am fine, just nervous. Quote. Calder. It's okay, Izuku, I am sure that the team will like you. Izuku. You sure? Calder. I am. Hey, how about this? The last one by the Zeta Tube pays dinner tonight. Calder said as he swam off, quickly followed by Izuku that transformed into his merman form screaming. Izuku. I don't have any surface money. Aquaman just laughed as his sidekick and son swam past him and towards the Zeta Tube. Calder was fast but not as fast as Izuku. It didn't took Izuku long to pass Calder and win this race. Izuku had a big smile on his face as Calder finally reached the Zeta Tube slightly out of breath. Calder. I forgot how fast you are. Izuku. Hee. Well, anyways, it has been over 3 years since I had a pizza, so that is what we are going to eat tonight. Calder. Damn it, I should have chosen my words more wisely. Izuku. Yeah, you should have. I mean, how many races did we have and how many did you lose? Calder. Quite a lot. As Izuku tried to remember how pizza tasted, Aquaman and Mera arrived at the Zeta Tube. Mera. Deku, you forgot something. Izuku looked over to his mother and saw that she was holding his staff. He quickly swam over to his mother and took his staff as his mother put her hands on his shoulders. Mera. Are you nervous? Izuku just nodded. Mera. I know it has been a while since you last visited the surface, but you have nothing to fear. It's not Japan and you are surrounded by friends, and don't forget me and your father are here if you need us. Izuku smiled. I know, thank you, Mom. Mera and Izuku then hugged each other before they parted. Aquaman. Okay, the Zeta Tube is ready. Are you ready to meet your new comrades, Izuku? Izuku. I am ready. Calder. Okay, let's go. Mount Justice. Wally. So where is Calder with our new teammate? Robin. They should be here any minute now. Magan. Oh, I am so excited. According to what Calder told us, that Izuku guy must be great. Robin. I met him once as I was in Atlantis together with the League to check up on Aquaman, and I must say he is a really cool guy. Also, don't ask him anything about his past, it is a very sore topic for him. Connor. Why, Robin? Well, I say that much, he will tell you if he wants to. Artemis. I can live with that. Just then the computer spoke up. Computer. Recognize Aquaman 03. Aquaman appeared through the Zeta Tube, stepping forward and pulling up the control panel and tapping away at the keys. Computer. Recognize Aqualad B01. Calder appeared and rushed to Aquaman's side, as he turned around and looked back towards the entrance. Computer. Recognize Deku B34. Magan. He's here. The familiar flash of the Zeta Tube flashed and the newest member of the Young Justice team appeared. He stepped forward and fell to the floor face first. Izuku. That was the weirdest sensation I have ever felt, and it feels weird to be on the surface again. Calder stepped towards Izuku. Calder. Now you know how I felt as I first came to the surface. Izuku. Yeah, I get it. Calder helped Izuku up, as the green-haired teenager also used his staff to help him up. He then looked in front of him as Calder walked over to his friends. Calder. Izuku, welcome to the Young Justice team. Artemis. He is pretty cute. Izuku froze, eyes wide, and pretty much just stared at the group before him unmoving. Wally. Is he okay? Kinda just froze up. Calder. Yeah, he is fine, just not the best social skills. Wally. No social skills, Reminds me of someone we know. Connor. Do you want to get decked? 'Cause I'll do it. Wally. Shutting up. Then Izuku unfroze. Izuku. Sorry. I am Izuku or Deku, call me what you want. Robin. Hello Izuku, you know me already, but the others are Superboy, Artemis, Kid Flash and Miss Martian. Izuku. And nice to meet you all. Aquaman just looked a small smile on his face as he saw his son introduce himself to his new team and hopefully friends. But from the looks of it they will get along nicely. He was about to return to Atlantis as he heard Artemis say. Artemis. Didn't know you paid attention to that kinda stuff. Which way do you sway? Kid Flash. Shut up, I was making an observation, that's all. Huh, thought Aquaman maybe his son will find more than just friends here, maybe. But his guts told him that something is gonna happen soon, but he can't tell if it is something bad or good. Izuku Pav. Mera. Izuku, are you ready? It has been 3 months since I joined the Young Justice team and it has been awesome. We were on a couple of missions together already, nothing big, just taking down Bane once. Anyways, today I had another mission, not with the team but with Mom and Dad. Dad and the Council of Atlantis have decided to join the UN, and for that we are visiting some countries, and today we are visiting Japan. I am not happy about, and that has 3 reasons. 1, we are going to meet the Emperor of Japan and his family together with the Prime Minister and his family. What isn't that bad normally, but we are also meeting the people of the Hero Commission and the #1 hero. Yes, I am going to see that shithead again. 2nd, I met the Prime Minister of Japan once and he tried to get me hooked up with his daughter. And 3rd, we are just going to eat and talk and that was it. But there is also a good thing. We are here for a week, so I have the chance to meet my uncles and aunts again, which I am quite happy about. No one Pav. Izuku. Mom, I need help. Mera walked into the room of Izuku only to see him standing there in defeat with an untied tie around his neck. She chuckled slightly as she walked over to her son as she helped him with his tie. Izuku. Why do I have to wear this? It is so uncomfortable around my gill scales. Mera. Because our clothing isn't exactly formal, at least not here on the surface. Mera finished the tie. She took a step back as she looked at her son. Mera. Even so you don't like it, you look good in a suit. Mera. Now come on, we have to be at the palace in an hour. Izuku. Yes Mom. Mera left the room followed by Izuku. They walked towards the elevator of the hotel. Izuku tried to ignore the fact that the suit itched on his scales, so his thoughts drifted towards another topic, and that was the fact that today he would see his biological father again. Mera. Izuku. 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 Huh, Mera. We have to get out of the elevator. Izuku. Oh yeah, sorry, I just spaced out. They walked out of the elevator and towards the entrance of the hotel, but as they walked out of the front door they were met with flashing cameras. Izuku had to cover his eyes because of the many flashes as they walked towards the limousine who would bring them to the Imperial Palace of Japan. They got into the car and drove off. Izumi Pav. It has been 3 years since Izuku was taken from us and the situation with our family became bad. My uncles and aunts nearly broke up every contact with us. Big brother Atami threw himself into hero work and managed nearly get himself killed in the first 2 months of his career. Mom and Dad tried to get the Hero Commission to help them against the Justice League to get Izuku back. What didn't work obviously. Anyways, Dad was invited today to welcome the King of Atlantis, the very same that took away Izuku. Well, hopefully Dad at least finds out if Izuku is well and happy. Also the Queen and Prince of Atlantis are visiting Japan as well. I can't wait to see him even if it is only over the news. He is apparently very handsome, well that should be expected by a prince. Inko. Izumi honey, please put on the news. Izumi. On it Mom. Atami. So why is that guy visiting Japan again? Inko. Atlantis wants to join the UN, so they decided to visit different countries as a sign of commitment. I switched to the news as it showed the front of the Imperial Palace in Tokyo. News reporter. Reporting here live in front of the Imperial Palace in Tokyo. We just got the message that King Orin, also known as the hero Aquaman, together with his wife Queen Mera and their son the Prince, are on their way here. They should arrive any minute now. As much as we know, then besides His Royal Highness Emperor Hisahito and his family, there also will be the Prime Minister Kako Yaoyorozu and his family will be present. It was also said that All Might and Endeavor will be attending the greetings of the Atlantean royal family as well. The camera then wings around showing how many people are there. Atami. Look at how many people there are. The camera then stops as it shows the gate of the palace, showing the emperor and his people as well as the number 1 and 2 hero of Japan. Izumi. Look, there is Dad and Uncle Enji. Then the camera switches again, showing a limousine driving towards the palace. News reporter. It seems that the guests are arriving now. The car stopped in front of the gate as a guard walked forward to open the door of the limousine. The guard stepped to the side as Aquaman, the king of Atlantis, stepped out of the limousine. Next was a woman with long red hair, which I guess is Queen Mara. The camera stayed on the open door of the car as the last person exited the car. My eyes widened while Atami spied out the water he was just drinking, while Mom covered her mouth as tears came out of her eyes. The person that left the car was Izuku. Izumi. Izuku is the prince. Bakugo's pav. Katsuki. What the fuck? Mitsuki. Shut up. But honestly, I didn't expect that. Katsuki clenched his fists as he saw the little pebble in his way being a big shot while he was the little pebble on the side of his road. Masaru. This is going to end badly. Katsuki. What do you mean, old man? Mitsuki smacked Katsuki on the back of his head. Mitsuki. Don't talk to your father like this. What do you mean, honey? Masaru. It's obvious, isn't it? Sai Toshinori is there. Mitsuki looked at the TV that showed the Japanese greeting delegation with a shocked All Might and a smirking Endeavor. Mitsuki. Oh shit, now I see it. Todoroki's pav. Natsuo. Holy Mother of Jesus. Fuyumi. Mom, you didn't told us that Izuku was a prince now. Rei. He never said anything when we talked on the phone. Natsuo. If he wanted to surprise, he definitely managed that. Shoko was blushing hard as she saw Izuku and how he looked now, but then she remembered that he would never love her. Shoto was in shock. He looked at his sister who was looking sad while blushing. He swore to himself that he would do everything he could so that his sister could be happy. No one pav. Last time, I swear. Back to Izuku. Izuku mind. At least Uncle Enji is here too, at least one good thing. The old Emperor Hisahito respectful bowed his head in a greeting, while Aquaman bowed back, followed by his family. Hisahito. It is an honor to meet you, King Orin of Atlantis. Aquaman. I am honored that you welcomed us, Emperor Hisahito. The two royals talked a few words before Emperor Hisahito led together with his family and the rest of the Japanese delegation led them into the palace. Izuku walked behind his mother, as someone stepped up right besides him, and that someone was Endeavor. Endeavor. So, why didn't you told us on the phone that you were a prince now? Izuku. W. Well, I didn't know how to say that over the phone, so I wanted to tell you in person, sorry. Endeavor. Sigh, it's okay. To be honest, I wouldn't have believed you when you would have told us over phone. I mean, it just sounds. Izuku. Unbelievable. Endeavor. Yeah. Endeavor then ruffled Izuku's hair. Endeavor. But I am happy that you finally have a real family that cares about you. Izuku. Thank you, uncle, but you will be part of my family as long as I live. That made Endeavor smile. Endeavor. I hope so. And no fear, I will keep that oversized American flag away from you for the day. Izuku. Thank you, uncle. Endeavor walked over to All Might as the one tried to get closer to Izuku. Izuku chuckled a little as he saw the despaired look in All Might's eyes. He didn't realize as someone else walked up besides him. Hello, your highness. Izuku. Huh, I am sorry, I am Momo Yaoyorozu. Izuku. Oh, the daughter of the Prime Minister. Momo. Yes, I just wanted to apologize for my father's behavior. Izuku. What do you mean? Momo. Well, I found out what happened as he was a guest in Atlantis. Izuku. Oh, you don't need to apologize about that, it's kind of normal for me. Believe me, your father wasn't the first one who tried to get me hooked up with his daughter. Also sorry that I have to say it like this. Momo. It's okay. Well, I hope you have nice stay here in Japan. Izuku. I hope so too. A question, are you going to be a politician too? Momo. Oh no, politics is nothing for me. I want to be a hero. I already got accepted into UA. Izuku. Congratulations then. I am sure you will be a great hero. Momo blushed a little bit at the smile that Izuku gave her. Momo. Thank you very much. In mind. Cute. Unknown place. We can see a figure sitting in front of a TV that shows the royal visit. Project Jormander. What a waste of 3 good quirks. The figure said as it looked at the TV. Then the door opened and in came a man in a lab coat with a file in his hand. Doctor. Master, all for one. All for one. What is it? Doctor. The experiments for today are over. All for one. Was it successful? Doctor. Yes, Master, the project will be soon finished. All for one. Good, now give me the file and leave. Doctor. Yes, Master, here, Master. The doctor handed All for one the file before he left the room. All for one. Your project was an epic fail, Luther. Now let me show you how it is done. All for one laughed a laugh that even would scare the Joker, while he looked at the file in his hand. Project. Leviathan. No one Pav. Artemis. So how was it meeting all those politicians? Izuku. Tiring. Calder. King Orin told me that the Italian president tried to marry you to his daughter. Izuku let his face fall on the table in front of him. Izuku. If it were only the Italians. Wally. Damn, and I thought being a prince would be just chill and all that. Izuku. Well, bad news for you it isn't. I may not be the crown prince of Atlantis, but I still have duties, especially in the future. Calder. You are gonna be the UN ambassador of Atlantis when I remember correctly. Izuku. Yes, as soon as I turn 20. Robin. No elections. Izuku. No, the Atlantean Parliament, if you can call it that. Decided that I would be the UN ambassador for Atlantis. McGann. And you had nothing to say in this. Izuku. No, as a prince of Atlantis it's my duty to represent Atlantis and the monarchy and nobility of Atlantis. Connor. Damn, no pressure at all. Izuku. Yeah. Just then an alarm went off and Batman could be heard speaking through the speakers. Batman. You guys have a mission. All communications to the USJ, the rescue training facility of UA, have been cut off and all attempt to reconnect have failed. You have the order to see what is going on and to repair the communication. Calder. Understood. Everyone to the Zeta Tube, it will bring us to UA. The team ran towards the Zeta Tube, but as they tried to teleport. Artemis. What is going on? Calder. It's not working. Wally. What should we do then? McGann. To the bioship. 1960s Batman from the distance. To the Batmobile. The team ran towards the hangar of the cave. This was the first time that Izuku saw the bioship, but he had no time to look at it further as they were in a hurry. He ran inside the ship and sat down in one of the seats as the rest of the team did the same. The ship took off and flew out of the cave so fast that only Superman or Flash would be able to keep up. In the USJ. The best way to describe the USJ at the moment was a complete disaster. All Might was fighting against two monsters who were slowly winning the upper hand as the number one hero was more and more pushed back. Both monsters had a black purplish skin color, both had exposed brains and extremely big muscles. The main difference between the two are their faces. One had bird-like beak while the other one had a snout with big teeth. All Might mind. Who are those two monsters? I never saw something like them before. The Nomu with the beak attacked All Might. All Might blocked the attacks, but he didn't watch out for the second monster with the snout as it punched the number one hero in the chest, sending him flying backwards. All Might crashed into the stairs. He grunted in pain as he tried to stand up. As he looked towards the two Nomus, he saw that they were charging towards him. All Might gritted his teeth as he stood up and charged at the two Nomus. He knew that he couldn't win against both, so he had a plan. He concentrated all of his power into his right arm as he ducked under the punch of the snout Nomu who was on his left. All Might. Plus. All Might punched the beak Nomu in the stomach with all of his power as he screamed. All Might. Ultra. The beak Nomu ascended flying through the ceiling and far into the sky. The students that were standing on top of the stairs cheered for All Might. But their victory was short-lived as the snout Nomu grabbed All Might from behind and bite down on his shoulder. Izumi. Dad. The Nomu continued to bite off a part of flesh before grabbing the hero's head and slamming it into the ground. Shigaraki. Ha. Yes. Finish it, Nomu. Just as the Nomu was about to bite down on the neck of the number one hero, a beam-like shot hit the beast, sending it flying into the fountain at the center of the USJ. Shigaraki. What the? Everyone looked up to the hole where the beak Nomu flew out and they saw a red and black spaceship. The spaceship flew into the USJ, firing a second blast at the Nomu creature before the door of the spaceship opened and 7 people jumped out. Calder. Kid Flash, go and check the other areas of the USJ. If you see any students, help them. Robin, you go see if you can get communications back online. Kid Flash. Got it. Robin. On it. Calder. Superboy, Jormander, Artemis, you are with me. Superboy, Artemis and Izuku. Understood. Calder. Also get that guy out of here. Superboy. Understood. Superboy ran over to the on the ground lying All Might and lifted him up. Superboy. Come on, you damn chunk. Superboy threw All Might over his shoulder before jumping up the stairs, the students taking a step back as they looked at the young hero in awe. Superboy. Watch this guy. Superboy placed All Might on the ground before jumping back to his two comrades. While this was happening, Izuku charged at a group of 5 villains. One villain shot at him with his gun-like fingers. But Izuku easily dodged and swung his staff and wiped the villain from his feet. While the villain was in the air, Izuku kicked him like a soccer player on the head, knocking him out and sending him flying a few meters. He then rammed his staff into the ground before jumping forward, kicking the villain in front of him in the chest multiple times and sending him stumbling backwards as Izuku landed on his feet. But he didn't stop. In the same motion of the landing, he pulled his staff over his head, using both of his hands to swing it down on the villain's head like a sledgehammer, knocking him out as well. With the class, Kaminari. Holy cool, look at this guy's go. Momo. His Highness surely knows how to fight. Jiro. Huh, who are you talking about, Momo? Momo. That boy there with the green hair and the blue suit. Mina. Oh, the one who just kicked that villain as if he was a soccer ball. Momo. Yes, Shinso. He replaces Izuku. There will also be another OC of mine in Class 1A. Does he have increased strength? Momo. As much as I know, yes, he has multiple powers. Suyu. Yeah, he can transform into a merman. Momo. Wait, how do you know that? Suyu. We had a run-in with each other in the past. Momo. Oh, Kirishima. How do you know him, Momo? Momo. I met him as he and his family visited Japan. I talked with him during the meeting with the Emperor. Shinso. So he is the Prince of Atlantis. He looks a lot different in real life than on TV. Suyu and Momo. He sure does. Huh. Bakugo. Izumi and the Todoroki twins looked in awe and in Bakugo's case in anger at the scene in front of them. Izuku took out those 5 villains as if it was a game, and even so they don't know the extent of his powers. They knew that this easiest thing for him. Also the way he moves makes it pretty easy to figure that out. Back with Izuku, he knocked out the last villain that he was fighting as he felt something moving fast behind him. He turned around just in time to be met with a punch to the face, sending him flying towards the flood zone. Calder. Jormander. While everyone was occupied fighting the remaining villains, the Nomu managed to regenerate from the blast attack and started a counter-attack. Superboy, acting fast, attacked the Nomu and a brutal fist fight between the two broke out. For a while it looked like Superboy was winning the upper hand until it seems he was in pain, using the moment the Nomu pushed forward as it tried to win the upper hand. Shigaraki. Ha ha ha, did you really think you could beat Berserker Nomu? He has a recoil quirk, he will just send the damage you deal to him back to you. While Calder fought other villains and the other Young Justice members fought in different places across the USJ, nobody witnessed how Izuku fell into the water. Izuku opened his eyes, but they were different, they were like the eyes of a snake. With Superboy. Superboy tried to keep up with the speed of the Nomu. It seemed as if that thing became faster and faster. Then Superboy catched one of the punches and used his super strength to crush the Nomu's hand. The Nomu screamed and tried to hit Superboy with its other hand, what the boy also caught and crushed. Snarling, the Nomu shot his head forward, biting down on Superboy, and to everyone's surprise Superboy actually screamed out in pain as the teeth of the Nomu drew blood and he fell to one knee. But then the earth started to shake lightly as out of the smoke of the burning area came a charging Triceratops. The Nomu hadn't time to react as it was rammed and trampled into the ground by the Triceratops. Miss Martian. Superboy. Miss Martian floated towards Superboy and kneeled down besides him as she looked at his injured shoulder, and Calder joined them. Calder. Where did that thing came from? Miss Martian. I found her in this fireplace over there fighting villains. She is one of the students here. Just then the Triceratops flew over their heads as the Nomu managed to grab its horns and throw it away. The Nomu stood in front of the young heroes as for a second it seemed to be tired before letting out a roar directed towards the young heroes. Shigaraki. Ha ha ha, do it Nomu kill those protégés of the Justice League so they see our might. The Nomu roared again ready to attack, but his roar was drowned out. His roar was heard so mighty it made the earth in the USJ shake. Shigaraki. What the? Calder just smiled as he heard the roar. Calder. I hope he doesn't overdo it. His three teammates looked at him confused together with the Triceratops that managed to get up. Miss Martian was about to ask what he meant, but then the roar was heard again and water splashing could be heard. Everyone, villains, students and heroes alike, looked towards the flood zone of the USJ as the water burst open revealing a green-brownish something. The thing rose higher and then they saw a giant eye opening. Everyone minus Calder took a step backwards as fear entered their bodies. Calder. He is gonna overdo it. The creature began to rise revealing a serpent-like body. It only stopped as its head hit the ceiling of the USJ. Most of Class 1A fell on their butt at the sight of the giant monster. Shigaraki. P. Project Jormander. Izumi. Oh. My. God. Kaminari screamed before hiding behind Shinso. Kaminari. Protect me. Shinso. How I am supposed to do that against that thing? The Nomu looked up at the giant creature. Even so, it was created so that it doesn't feel fear. At this moment it felt this exact feeling. The giant snake let out another roar as its giant head shot down towards the Nomu. Even so, the Nomu could have dodged with its speed. It didn't. It was as if it was glued to the ground as it just looked up, seeing the giant mouth coming towards it. Shigaraki. Nomu move, but it was too late as the giant mouth closed in on its prey. Shigaraki stood there in shock as the giant head moved upwards again, leaving a crater there where the Nomu just stood a few seconds ago. Then a sound as if someone was gurgling was heard and everyone looked towards the head of the giant serpent as steam started to come out of it. Kirishima. What is that thing doing now? The serpent pulled his head back lightly, facing upwards before looking downwards, opening its mouth as a stream of steaming hot water came out of its mouth, hitting the ground between the villains and the heroes. After a minute it stopped, and as the steam started to fade, the villains, heroes and hero students saw the Nomu laying in the middle of the water puddle, but it looked different. The skin of the Nomu was nearly pink and its brain was gray. Miss Martian. Did he just, Superboy, cook that thing? Calder. Yes, he did. Artemis. I think I have to puke. Shigaraki. No. This was supposed to go differently. Kurogiri. Young master, may I suggest that we withdraw? Shigaraki. Grr. Shigaraki was about to say something as he heard the roar of the monster above him. He looked up and saw the serpent slowly opening its mouth again. Shigaraki. Get us out. Get us out. Now. Kurogiri opened a portal beneath them and the two villains fell through it before it closed. Calder. I guess this is it then. Miss Martian. Well, we still have to deal with that thing. Pointing towards Izuku. Calder. What? Come on, as if you didn't realize it yet. Miss Martian. What do you mean? Superboy. This is Izuku, isn't it? Calder. It sure is. Calder walked closer to the serpent that was now looking down on him. Calder looked up and then screamed. Calder. You can transform back now, the enemy has withdrawn. The giant snake just nodded before it began to shrink in size. Everyone looked in awe as the giant creature became smaller and smaller until it disappeared beneath the water again. Then a second later a figure came jumping out of the water, landing in front of the three young heroes. Izuku. I must say it has been a while since I transformed into my serpent form. Miss Martian. This was astonishing, I never saw something like this before. Superboy. How long were you? Artemis. This was ridiculous how easy you took that thing out. Izuku. I was around 200 meters. Superboy mind. He says it as if it was the most normal thing in the world. A blur of yellow and red flashed towards them. It stopped and Kid Flash stood in front of them. Wally. Did you guys see that giant snake? Superboy. It would be pretty hard to not see that thing. Robin landed besides Wally, apparently coming out of nowhere. Robin. Where did that snake go? Izuku. First of all, it's not a snake, it's a serpent, and second of all, I am right here. Robin and Kid Flash. Huh. Both of them looked confused until Robin connected the dots and facepalmed. Robin. That is the reason why you call yourself Jormander. Izuku. One of the reasons, but yes. Kid Flash. Wait, isn't Jormander the world? Oh holy cow dude, you can transform into a giant snake. Izuku. It's a serpent. Artemis. Yeah, but don't we forget one thing. Artemis pointed towards the cooked Nomu. Izuku. Oh. Artemis. You killed it. Izuku. I didn't look at it, it already started to regenerate itself. Calder. Maybe we should cuff it or something before it wakes up. Kid Flash. On it. Kid Flash ran away only to appear a second later with giant cuffs in his hands. Kid Flash. I borrowed those from UA. Artemis. Come on, let's put it on. While Artemis and Kid Flash cuffed the Nomu, the rest of the team talked to each other until. And I thought my transformation was impressive. The 5 young heroes turned towards the voice to see a girl. Superboy. Who are you? I was the Triceratops that rammed that thing off you. They looked at the girl for a second. She looked like the same age Robin and Izuku. She wore a hoodie with cat ears and a black mask, her eyes were amber colored and she had brown hair. Calder. So you were the one to save Superboy. I must say your quirk is very impressive. Thank you. Izuku. What is your name? My name is Mira Tokugawa and my quirk is called Triceratops. It allows me to transform into a Triceratops or a hybrid form of it. Robin. That is a strong quirk. Mira. I guess it is. Superboy. Thank you for helping me earlier. Mira. No problem. I mean that is what heroes do, right, helping each other and those who need it. Izuku. That is true. The team started to have a nice conversation with Mira until someone had to interrupt. Izumi. Izuku. Izuku and the rest of the team, with a returned Artemis and Kid Flash, looked towards the voice as they saw a girl with shoulder-long green hair followed by a guy with spiky blonde hair and a girl and boy with the same bicolored hair running towards them. Izuku. Oh great, those are the last peep I want to see today. But before the girl could reach Izuku, Calder put himself between them. Calder. Halt, you can't come closer. Izumi. What? But that's my brother. Izuku. I am not. Come on guys, let's go. Batman surely wants a report about this. Izuku started to walk towards the bioship, followed by most of the team, besides Calder, who stood a little bit behind to make sure those people wouldn't try to get after Izuku. Miss Martian. What was this about? Superboy. No idea. Robin looked towards Izuku. He looked into the eyes of his teammate as he saw sadness and hatred flashing in his eyes. Robin. Hey man, are you okay? Izuku. Yeah, and in that moment the doors of the USJ exploded, showing the US staff, and leading them was Bellum Magus, also known as Atami Yagi, and Green Wave, also known as Inko Yagi. Izuku. Why do they have to appear now? Robin put a hand on Izuku's shoulder and said. Robin. Why don't you wait in the bioship for us? Me and Calder will handle the situation here. Izuku gave a small smile and nodded as he continued to walk towards the bioship, followed by Superboy, Miss Martian, Artemis and Kid Flash. As they were waiting they could hear some screaming and cursing from the outside. Izuku on the other hand just hoped that they wouldn't get in here and that they maybe could go soon. Sadly that didn't happen as Robin stepped into the bioship and told everyone to get out again. Well, there goes that hope, said Izuku. Izuku paused. How could this turn out like this? It was supposed to be a simple mission, but now we are standing in front of the UA teachers and my past. Man, this is gonna be a long day. Calder and Robin were somewhat standing in front of me since my old mother tried to approach me. Nezu. Thank you for saving our students. Nezu smiled towards my direction and I smiled back. He walked towards me and Calder looked at me and I nodded and he let him through to me. Nezu. I heard you are a prince now. I scratched the back of my head before answering him. Izuku. Yeah, sorry about not telling you. Nezu. Sigh, it's okay, but it was quite a shocker, not gonna lie, as I saw you in the news. I giggled a little bit at that. Most of my uncles and aunties said that as I met them during the Japan trip. Sadly Uncle Nezu and Uncle Zawa had work to do, so I didn't got to meet them. Even so I had time to meet all of them and I had royal duties to do. Actually, speaking of Uncle Zawa. Izuku. Uncle Nezu, how is Uncle Zawa doing? Nezu. Well, he is in a critical condition. Recovery girl did the best she could and he is currently on the way to the hospital together with 13 and All Might. I nodded at that as I saw someone else trying to get to me. I grumbled, annoyed, as I saw it was my brother in his hero costume. Oh my god, the hair. Not gonna lie, even with the Trump wig he would look way better. Calder and Robin stood in front of me blocking his way, which got an angry snarl from him as he tried to push by. Which of course didn't work, as Calder was determined to not let him through to his prince. So he looked directly into Calder's eyes, his flashing red caused to his quirk what was now activated. Tommy. Let me through. Calder. As long as the prince doesn't want to speak to you, then I won't. You could feel the tension in the air. Damn, you probably could cut it with a knife if you wanted to. But we don't need a fight right now. Izuku. Calder let him through. Calder. You sure? Izuku. Yeah. Calder stepped aside and Tommy walked past him and towards me. I was nervous to have him right in front of me, but hey, what can he do? He wouldn't dare hurt or anything else in front of my friends. Tommy. Hey, Izuku. What do you want? Tommy. I just want to talk. Izuku. Then talk. 20 minutes later. No one pav. We can see the team of young heroes sitting in the bioship flying towards Mount Justice. It was silent. Even the normally non-stop talker Kid Flash was silent. Well, who would talk anyways after what just happened? Izuku in mind. How can he even dare? I should have hurt him so bad that he. Izuku was brought out of his thoughts by Calder, who grabbed his shoulder. He looked up to him. Calder. The king just called. He wants that you come to Atlantis as fast as possible. Izuku sighed hopefully. It wasn't something bad. He doesn't need anything else going wrong this day. Izuku. Did they say why? Calder. He just said that it is important for the family. Izuku just nodded as Calder walks back to his seat while Izuku sank deeper into his own. Izuku. What a day. Time skip to Atlantis. Izuku was in his merman form and he swam over Atlantis as fast as a torpedo towards the royal palace. He swam through the gate so fast that the guards couldn't even react to greet him. He stopped abruptly, dodging his parents so he doesn't crash into them. Instead, he crashed into a pillar face first. Mera. Izuku. I told you to not swim that fast in the palace. Izuku rubbed his head as one of the servants helped him getting his balance back. Izuku. Sorry, Mom. After he fully regained his senses, he thanked the servant and swam over to his parents. Izuku. So, Calder said it was important. Did something happen? Aquaman. Well, something did happen. Aquaman smiled at his son before looking towards his wife. Mera. You will be a big brother soon. Izuku. Huh? Izuku tilted his head in confusion until it all made click in his head and he screamed. Izuku. You are pregnant. Mera nodded with a smile as her son literally started vibrating. Aquaman. Hey, Izuku, you okay? He stopped vibrating and then, as if he exploded, he screamed. Izuku. I am gonna be big brother. He swam to his parents and gave them both a big hug, as small tears ran down his cheeks. He wasn't happy like this since the day when he came to Atlantis. In Japan. All for one. So doctor, how did the subject react to her new quirk? Doctor. Well, her body took it pretty well, considering her age. She is even younger than subject Jormander. All for one. I know. I thought it would be easier to break her will. How many quirks does she have now? Doctor. She has 14 now, Master. All for one. Then we should start with the body modifications soon. Stronger bones will be necessary. Doctor. I understand, Master. I will prepare everything for the experiment. All for one. Also, nobody besides us two knows about this project. We can't risk having the Justice League ruin this one just as they did the last one. Doctor. Of course, Master. All for one. The doctor left the room. All for one. Soon my Leviathan will rise and this world will bow to my will. Hee. Izuku Pav. Language teacher. Okay, Your Majesty, one more try. Izuku. Ya. Prince Atlantidi. Teplo privatstvuyu vas v Atlantide ot ameni moego otsa. Language teacher. That was perfect, my prince. We have to work a little bit on the accent and pronunciation and then we can get to the harder stuff. Izuku. That wasn't the hard stuff already. Why'd I have to learn so many languages anyways? I said as I rubbed my eyes. Language teacher. Well, Your Majesty, as future UN ambassador, it is important to at least be able to speak the most important languages. You already know English and French. If you continue like that, then Russian should be done soon, and after that we have to learn German, Arabic, Indian and Chinese. After that we are done. I let my head fall on the table as I groaned. Political studies, languages, different table manners. I had to learn all of that. If I have to learn all of that, I don't want to know what my little brother has to learn, since he will be the heir to the Atlantean throne. Speaking of which, Mom is in her 6th month now and Dad is extremely nervous. It is kind of funny seeing him literally asking Mom if she needs something or if she was okay. On the other hand, I wasn't much better, but I at least gave Mom some space. Language teacher. So let's continue. I groaned as I sat up straight again and started to listen to my teacher. Why couldn't I just be a normal hero, part of the Young Justice and later Justice League? Well, Dad handles being a hero and a king at the same time, and if he can do that, I can do that. Talking about the Young Justice team, we had some missions together since the USJ incident. It was nice making more friends and I grew quite close to Robin and Kid Flash. Even so, Kid Flash can be annoying sometimes, it is still nice having him around. Language teacher. How'd I say, I wish you a good day. Izuku. Koroshigo TBDNYA. 2 hours later. Language teacher. So that is all for today. Zalayu vam prijednogo večera. I wish you a good evening. Izuku. Ordinikovi. Likewise. I swam out of the room and closed the door behind me and let out a relieved sigh. I swam down to the main hall where I saw Mom talking to some nobles. As she saw me, she quickly excused herself and came over to me. Mera. Finished. I nodded. Izuku. Why'd I have to learn so many languages? Can't I just use magic? Mera. The spell just lets you speak the language, it won't let you write in that language, and it shows that you take your role as prince very serious. Also, it is something else besides training. I just nodded. Actually, where is Dad? Mera. He had to go to a meeting with the Justice League. Izuku. And he didn't told me. Mera. Giggle. Well, your studies are more important at the moment, and as much as I know, it's just one of their regular meetings. I just nodded and we swam together towards the dining room. Izuku. What does it give today? Mera. No idea, I was too focused on my work then to care to ask. Izuku. I thought me and Dad told you to take it easy. Mera. Yeah, I know Izu, but you must remember I am still the Queen of Atlantis and I have to do my duties as Queen. Just like you have to do yours as Prince. I nodded. We were about to sit down on the table as we heard an alarm and one of the guards came rushing into the room. Guard. My queen, a group of 3 megalodons is coming towards us. Mera. What, how? Sharks are lone hunters, why are they in a group? Mom asked in a calm but concerned voice. Guard. We have no idea. I swam towards the window as I asked. Izuku. From which direction are they coming? Guard. From the east, my lord. Mera. Get the guard ready and evacuate the east part of the town. Izuku. Where are you going? Izuku. No fear, I got this, send Calder and Tula after me please. I swam out the window and eastwards while transforming into my serpent form. I transformed and grew 300 meters long before stopping the transformation. I could hear screams coming from the direction of Atlantis, either they started the evacuation or the town people realized something bad was happening as I transformed into my serpent form. Anyways, I saw 3 big shadows swimming towards me and I stopped before letting out a roar that shook the water around me. But the 3 figures didn't stop and continued swimming towards me. I then moved my giant body forward and soon reached the 3 megalodon. I let out another roar before I rammed the one in the middle, that seemed to make the other 2 stop but only momentarily. The one on the left attacked me by biting me in my side. I was too big for his jaw, so it was more or less only a scratch. While the right one continued to swim towards Atlantis. I turned right towards the megalodon that tried to get to Atlantis, but my movement caused the megalodon on my left to be pushed away while the one that was in the middle came back to its senses after I rammed it to the ground. The megalodon that swam past me had no time to react as I bit down on it. The giant shark tried to escape, but I just bit harder, drawing more blood as the megalodon wiggled trying to escape. I moved my head right and left before throwing the megalodon away. The megalodon crashed into the ground and didn't move, and that was when I saw it. The red light in its eyes vanished, leaving a completely black-colored eye. What the? I thought as I looked to the other two megalodons then charged me at the same tone, catching me off guard and gaining some success as they actually managed to give me a bloody wound on my side. As both megalodons were attacking my side, I moved my massive body around them like an anaconda and tightened it. Both megalodons realized too late what was going on as they tried to escape but failed. I tightened my grip on them to make sure they wouldn't escape, and I saw them getting slower and slower. I looked into their eyes and saw the same red light vanishing as they stopped moving. I let go of their bodies and they sank to the ground. I honestly don't know if they are dead or alive right now. But I didn't care. That was when Calder and Tula arrived. Calder and Tula. Izuku. They swam up to my head and I opened my mouth to talk. Izuku. Something wasn't right with those sharks. Even so, I thought I talked in a normal tone. They still covered their ears. Oh shit, I forgot that when I am in this form and I talk normally, that I am still louder than the horn of a ship. After a minute, Calder regained his earring and asked. Calder. What do you mean by something wasn't right? I transformed back into my human form and said. Izuku. They had red eyes, but as I knocked them out they turned into their normal black eye color. Tula. You sure you saw right? Izuku. Yeah, it seemed like someone ordered them to try to attack Atlantis. Since one of them just continued his way to the city. Luckily I caught him before he came far. Tula. Who would do something? Tula was interrupted by someone clapping. We turned towards the direction from where the noise came and saw a young-looking man in a nice suit and black hair that was styled into two horns. He had an evil grin on his face as he looked at us, a red aura surrounding him. Calder and Izuku. Clarion. Izuku. What are you doing here? Clarion. Well, of course, to see the serpent. What else? He came closer to us and we three all got into a fighting stance, but in just a blink of an eye he stood in front of me. He grabbed my neck and held me up as if he was inspecting me. Clarion. Very interesting. I must say you probably are the strongest creature humans ever managed to create. He let go of me, but in an instant, me, Calder and Tula were pulled away by some water tentacles. Mera. Stay away from them, Izuku. Mom, are you crazy? This is too dangerous. I got in front of her immediately just as Clarion launched an attack. It hit me directly in the chest and I could hear my ribs breaking. I puked blood as I could hear Mom and the others scream out my name. But I just glared directly at Clarion. How can he dare attack my family? How can he dare? I charged him while transforming. Clarion just had enough time to put a shield around him as my massive jaw bit down on him. I didn't let go of the shield and instead shot upwards towards the surface. I don't know how long I let myself grow and I didn't care. Nobody attacks my family. We broke the surface and Clarion finally used his magic to cause me to let go of him. I let out a roar that people probably could hear all the way to Japan. Clarion. Now. No need to get so violent, she started it after all. I tried to catch him by biting, but he dodged it and shot red energy at me, but that didn't help him as I just pushed through it and tried to bite down on him again. But he dodged again. This continued for several minutes, but he always managed to dodge. Then he let out a quite powerful attack, hitting me while screaming. Clarion. Enough. But it wasn't enough to stop me. The sky above us turned dark and it began to rain. Clarion at first didn't pay it much attention until lightning came down, nearly hitting him. Clarion. What the? Oh, I nearly forgot that you had control over the weather. He finished his sentence just in time to dodge an attack of cooking hot water that I spit at him. I was about to attack again until I heard a voice in my head. Aquaman. Stop. I flinched at the order in my head and that was enough for Clarion to hit me with another attack. I let out a roar before attacking him again. This time I actually managed to get him. Clarion. Let me go. He screamed as we crashed into the water surface and I dived downwards towards the ocean ground. I gathered the water in my mouth and stopped 100 meters over the ground before letting the hot water out and with that pinning Clarion to the ground. Clarion. Ah, let me go. Let me go, it's hot. But I just continued to spit hot water at him even as I could see his skin starting to get cooked. Clarion. This isn't over. He screamed and in the next second he vanished in a bright red light and I stopped my assault. I growled as I looked around, moving my giant body as I was sure that Clarion would attack me any second now. But no attack came. That was when I saw my father swimming towards me, followed by Calder, Tula and Mom. I could hear Dad in my head again. Aquaman. Transform back. Now. I flinched at how powerful the command was spoken and transformed back. It took me a while to transform as apparently, I let myself grow to the full size of 600 meters. It's a wonder that I didn't lost control over myself, but then again I probably caused quite a few tsunamis up there. As I was human again, my family and friends came rushing over to me. My mom took my face in between her hands, but I couldn't feel that anymore as I slowly started to faint. I must have used too much energy in that fight. I feel weak, I just want to sleep. With the worried face of my mom in front of me as I passed out. No one pav. Meanwhile in New York, the sky started to clear again and the civilians started to calm down as Superman stopped one of the last tsunamis by freezing it. Batman put on hand on his ear and started to talk to Aquaman. Aquaman over radio. He just passed out. Batman. What happened? Aquaman over radio. Clarion attacked Atlantis with a bunch of megalodons. Izuku quickly dealt with them, but the situation escalated as Clarion attacked Mera. Wonder Woman over radio. Is she and the baby okay? Aquaman over radio. Yeah, Izuku took the blow and that is when it all started. Shazam over radio. He just caused over 15 tsunamis. At least tell me he got Clarion. Aquaman. Well, from what we saw, Clarion was about to be cooked and that is when he retreated. Zatara over radio. He managed to get a Lord Chaos to retreat, remarkable. Aquaman over radio. We bring Izuku back to Atlantis at the moment, talk to you guys later. Wonder Woman, who now stood besides Batman, said. Wonder Woman. We can be lucky he is on our side. Batman. Yeah. We really are. No one pav. Lex Luthor is one of the richest and smartest people alive, yet not even he could have seen this one coming. He should have never trusted All for One. After the failure of Project Jormander, he should have broke all contact with him. But no, instead he agreed to a new project, Project Leviathan, which was a mistake. All for One has full control over the project while he only is a material supplier. Lex. I don't like this. He just got a few pictures of the project from his spy, but those barely say him anything. Why did he give All for One those materials? Deathstroke. You wanted to talk to me? Lex. I have a job for you. Deathstroke. What kind of job and how much is the pay? Lex. I want you to lead the Justice League onto the trail of All for One. Deathstroke. Wait up, what, you want me to help the Justice League basically? Lex. $200,000 are yours if you do it. Deathstroke. That is a new one, Luthor. That All for One guy must have gotten pretty much on your nerves considering that you send the Justice League after him. Lex. Do you take the job? Deathstroke. Make it $300,000 and we have a deal. Lex. Deal. Amanda Waller Pav. U.S. General. He caused 5 tsunamis just by moving around. Amanda. I know, but what do you want me to do? Izuku Curry is a hero of a different nation and member of the Royal Atlantean family. Taking actions against him would come close to a declaration of war against Atlantis, General. U.S. General. You want to let this monster run around freely in the hands of those freaks? Amanda. Your stupidity grows with every word that leaves your mouth. Atlantis only has one Jormander while we have around 3,000 nuclear warheads. If the Prince of Atlantis ever should pose a threat to the USA, we will just throw 1 or 2 and it's over. The general was about to open his mouth again, but I stopped him. Amanda. Atlantis is a completely independent country with its own government and traditions. That has a military that maybe even could beat our military. Prince Izuku is not only a prince, he also is a future politician and military commander. Oh, and let's not forget he also is a member of the Young Justice team and future member of the Justice League. Meaning a move against him will bring us into trouble that we both don't want. I stood up and walked towards the door. Amanda. As long as he doesn't do anything that makes him a criminal or something of that kind. Unfortunately, my hands are tied. With those words I left the room. Amanda, fucking idiot. I must agree though, the fact that such a mighty creature like Izuku Curry is in the hands of Atlantis and the Justice League makes even me nervous. Amanda. As if Superman wasn't enough already. All for One Pav. I couldn't help the smirk that came to my face as I looked at the video recording of M.Y. Jormander in his full glory. All for One. I must say for that he was a failed project. I must say we did a pretty good job. Dr. Garaki. We certainly did, Master. All for one. Now tell me, how is our Nay creation doing? Dr. Garaki. She is doing well, master. Her will still isn't broken though. But her body accepted the new quirks and alterations to her body without any difficulties. All for one. That is good to hear. She will be my key to finally overthrow the world and get rid of the Justice League. No worries, Doctor. Her will break soon enough. Dr. Garaki. What about Jormander, master? All for one. We will worry about him when the time comes. Until then we should worry about finishing Project Leviathan. She is our main priority at the moment. Dr. Garaki. Of course, master. All for one. Actually, what about Project Apollo? Dr. Garaki. We didn't found any test subject yet, master. That would fit the frame we are looking for. All for one. Increase the search radius then. They can be older but they can't be over 20. Look at orphanages and foreigners. Look through the universities, there must be one that fits Project Apollo. Dr. Garaki. Of course, master, I will go to work this second. Ah yeah. Project Apollo, it isn't much of a destructive project as Jormander and Leviathan is, but it will serve me a great purpose. I also already have 3 quirks in my arsenal that will work perfectly with it. Izuku Pav. It has been 3 days since the fight against Clarion and I have felt miserable since. Now I don't have any pity on the guy, no way. No, you see, when I transform it takes quite a lot out of me, especially when I grow to my full size. It will take at least a week until I am at my full strength again. The other thing why I don't feel so good is because I caused at least 5 tsunamis and brought several cities in danger with it. The scolding I received from Dad didn't make it any better. But as Clarion was about to hit Mom, I just lost it. Okay. Teacher. Kak Uvas Della. How are you? Izuku. Ustali, tired. Teacher. Sigodnia my delayum Uroki Korosh, ch Toby vy Mowgli Raslabidizia. Okay. We will make the lesson not too long today, so that you can rest. Izuku. Spasibo. Thanks. Oh yeah, and I still have classes to attend to, which sucks but must be done. Oh man, I wished I was with the team right now. Maybe they are on a mission right now and I have to sit here and learn a language that I will probably only speak once or twice every year. Teacher. Mama Dala Mne Yabloko, a ya Potsaloval ye v Sheku. Izuku. Mama Dala Mne Yabloko, a ya Potsaloval ye v Sheku. This will be a long week and I can't get rid of the feeling that something bad is coming my way. Henry Pav. The name is Heinrich Schildberg, but you can just call me Henry. I am 15 years old and I am a German hero student from the Maximilian II School in Munich. I am an exchange student that came to Japan for internship with the medical heroine recovery girl. My quirk is called Medical Eye, which allows me to see injuries, and it also shows me when treatment is possible and what treatment would be the best. It also shows me when treatment isn't possible. All of that is shown with different colors. It isn't a powerful quirk but an extremely rare one, that is for sure. Oh yeah, as it activated my eye color became gold. Well anyways, right now I have a bag over my head and I am being dragged to God knows where. My Japanese isn't the best yet either, so I can't even understand most things they say. I really didn't imagine that my visit to Japan would go like this. Then I was set on a chair and binded to it before the bag was pulled off of my head. In front of me stood a man looking like that mad doctor from Sonic the Hedgehog. Ah, Mr. Schildberg, nice to finally make your acquaintance. Now you may wonder who I am or why you are here, but those questions can wait since my master wants Project Apollo to start as soon as possible. So yeah, you are Project Apollo. I tried to scream at him but the gag in my mouth made that impossible as I struggled to get free. Please don't try to struggle, it will only make my work harder and the process more painful, for you of course. The mad doctor turned around with a syringe that had a golden liquid in it in his hand. Mad doctor. Looks nice, doesn't it? It's the same shade of gold as your eyes. Now all jokes aside, this what you are seeing right here is a quirk in liquid form. My eyes grew wide. What? How the hell is that possible? Mad doctor. My master wants you, my dear Project Apollo, to have this quirk. It is a simple but still effective quirk and it will flow perfectly with the quirk that you already have. The quirk is poison healing, and as the name says, it allows you to heal yourself and anyone else from every poison that exists. He got closer to me and I tried to move away, but the chair I was sitting on was held from behind. Mad doctor. Now. He then grabbed my hair, pulling it so that my neck was exposed. Then quickly he stabbed the needle into my neck. I could hear the PFF of the syringe, and as soon as he pulled out I felt like my veins were on fire. Henry. HMMMMMMMMMM. I tried to scream but the gag in my mouth wouldn't let me. The heat got worse and worse and I was sweating like a freaking pig. Mad Doctor. It seems like your body already accepted the new quirk. No worries, it will only hurt for a few minutes but you will feel the effects for a few hours. The Mad Doctor got a file of the table. He skipped through the pages while I groaned in pain, my eyes still fixed on him. Mad Doctor. So now that you got your first quirk, we will continue with something else. Your new quirk, poison healing, works together with your liver. The stronger your liver, the better the quirk will work. The Mad Doctor grabbed an IV bag from the table and put it on a stand. He then connected the tube before connecting it with my arm. Mad Doctor. This is a chemical that will strengthen your organs, basically said a super soldier serum for organs. Project Jormander and Leviathan both got this serum and both were a success, so you should be too. Jormander. The Prince of Atlantis. They experimented on him as well. Mad Doctor. Guessing from your face you heard of Jormander. Of course you heard of him. I mean, he is the Prince of Atlantis. He also was in Munich and Berlin once as his father was making international visits. If I remember correctly. The fluid finally reached my arm and as it flew inside I already could feel a slight effect as the heat and pain lessened. The doctor smiled and turned around. The two guards behind me left the room. Mad Doctor. That is everything for today. This IV bag will be enough for tonight. Tomorrow I will give you a second one that will mutate your organs. After that we will rest for a day to give your body time to adjust to those drastic changes. Before we continue with the second quirk. With those words the doctor also left the room. He turned off the lights, leaving me in complete darkness. Someone please help me. 2 days later. No one. Pav. Location Ua, Nezu. So your apprentice hasn't arrived. Recovery girl. He has the hotel that he is supposed to stay in, said that he checked in already. Nezu. Any idea where he is? Recovery girl. According to the hotel he left it in the morning after breakfast. On the day that we should have met. Nezu. He hasn't been seen since. Recovery girl. Yeah. Nezu. That means he has been missing since 48 hours. I will call Aizawa and then put out an official missing case. I will also call the boy's family to let them know. Recovery girl nodded before standing up and leaving the room. Nezu went through the file of the boy, stopping to look at the picture. Nezu. Heinrich Schildberg, 15 years old. His uncle was the one to give him the recommendation for the hero school in Munich. Great, I will have to deal with the #1 hero of Germany. 1 day later. Location Munich. We can see Red Knight sitting in the principal office of the Duke Maximilian II school. He tried to comfort his sister that was crying besides him. Red Knight. Did they find anything? Principal Lohendorf. No, the last recordings of him are from the morning as he left his hotel to go to UA. Mrs. Schildberg. Why you have to find him? Principal Lohendorf. I am sorry Mrs. Schildberg, I can't do much from here. I already talked to the German embassy in Tokyo and they said that they will talk to the Japanese Hero Commission to let some of our heroes help in the search for Mr. Schildberg. Red Knight. How long will it take? Principal Lohendorf. Maybe a day or two. Until they allow it, so I guess a week from now on until we can send a few picked heroes over. Red Knight. Put me on the list. Principal Lohendorf. I will see what I can do. 1 day later. Henry Pav. I was shaking, my body hurts. The cold concrete floor didn't make this situation any better. I was grabbed and put on the chair again. They strapped my arms and legs to it so I couldn't move, but at least they took the gag out of my mouth. Mad Doctor. I must say Mr. Schildberg, you are quite surprising. It has barely been a week since we started our work. Yet you already have 2 new quirks and strengthened mutated organs. I would say that we already can move on to our next quirk. Now you may be wondering why we gave you this natural light quirk yesterday. As you probably realized, that quirk only makes you glow slightly. The reason why we gave you that quirk is because of the next 3 quirks that we will give you. The doctor turned to the table behind him, grabbing another syringe. This time it was filled with a yellow glowing fluid. Mad Doctor. This quirk here is called Light Battery, and as the name says, it is a battery charged with light. It can be charged with any kind of light, your natural light quirk included. Quite cool, isn't it? The doctor grabbed my head again, pulling my head to the side before injecting the needle. After injecting the fluid, the pain began again. Henry. Fick dick. Mad doctor. Kind of sad that I can't understand German. Anyways, tomorrow you have a free day again. We will bring you to a cell with a bed in it. I can only imagine how sore your back has to be. Henry. Vielen Dank Arschloch. Translation. Thank you, asshole. Mad doctor. Ha ha ha. Guards bring him to his new room and give him something to eat. They untied me before one guard grabbed me by the back of the neck and started to drag me out. Mad doctor. Go easy on him, Muscular. If he gets damaged you will get no pay. The guy called Muscular just grumbled before grabbing me around my waist and throwing me over his shoulder. Muscular. You still awake, brat? Henry. Not really. Muscular huffed before opening another door. He threw me off his shoulder and onto a bed. Muscular. You look like a fucking corpse. Anyways, your food will come in 10 minutes or something like that. I just nodded, barely able to move at all. The blonde guy just tsk'd at me before turning around to walk out of the room. Muscular. Fucking weakling. He slammed the door shut behind him. I groaned as I tried to sit up. Henry. Arschloch. You okay, mister? I turned towards the voice and my eyes widened as I saw a small wit-haired girl with a little horn sitting in the corner. Henry. Why, yeah, I am fine. I sit up even so my body protested, but as I tried to stand up my knees gave away and I fell back on the bed. Henry. My knees are a little weak though. What is your name? I am Airy, but the man in white just calls me Leviathan. Henry. Airy. That is a cute name. Airy. Really? Henry. My name is Henry, by the way. It's nice to meet you. I stretched out a hand for her to shake, but she just flinched, backing away. Airy. What are you doing? Henry. I am trying a handshake. Do you know what that is? Airy shook her head. Henry. A handshake is a way of how people introduce each other or make business. Airy lifted her little hand trying to shake my hand, but she was stopped by a massive chain. I looked at her wrist, seeing a massive chain, like massive in the way that you could bind an elephant with it. I dropped my hand and so did she. Henry. We don't need to shake hands. Airy. Did the man in white also give you a name? Henry. Oh yeah, I am Apollo. Airy. Apollo, why are you glowing? Henry. That is one of the quirks what they gave. Do you like it? Airy. It feels nice. Henry. I am glad. No one pav. Location Watchtower. Superman. Why did you call in this meeting? Batman. Batman. All for One is on the move. Wonder Woman. What do you mean? Batman. Through Deathstroke I got a hint on 2 new projects that All for One is working on. Aquaman. New projects. You mean like Batman? Like Izuku? Yes. I don't know what or where he is working yet. Superman. Do you have any hints? Batman. I do. 4 days ago the nephew of Germany's #1 hero was kidnapped. He was in Japan for an internship with Recovery Girl, but he vanished one day after he arrived in Japan. Green Lantern. You think he has something to do with this? Batman. The boy has a extremely rare and useful quirk, and we all know how much All for One loves rare quirks. Batman pulls up the file of the boy for all members to see. Aquaman. So our only lead is a boy. Batman. Yes. Aquaman. Does that new projects have a name? Batman. Yes. Project Leviathan and Project Apollo. Wonder Woman. The quirk of the boy is a medical one. So he probably is Project Apollo, I guess. Superman. Do we have anything on Project Leviathan? Batman. No, sadly not. Aquaman. I don't like this. Shazam. None of us does. Aquaman. Izuku is gonna hate this. Green Arrow. Would be a surprise if not. Henry Pav. It has been, well, I don't know exactly, but I guess it has been a month. Since I have been kidnapped, me and Airy bonded greatly over that time. After they are done experimenting on us, we often would just sit together and talk. Well, I would sit with her on the floor since she is chained to the wall. She often asks me questions about my life back in Germany or what I did before I came here. But more than often she would just lean on me and drift off to sleep. Apparently this natural light quirk has a very calming sensation on her. Airy. What was the name? Henry. Bad Talls, it's my birth town and I grew up there for the first 10 years of my life. Before me and my mom moved to Munich. But if you want the best cake in the entirety of Germany you have to go to Bad Talls. Nobody has better cake than Café Schuler. Ari giggled. Ari. That is a weird name, Schuler. Henry. I guess it is, but it's quite a common name back in Germany or at least in Bavaria. Ari giggled tritely before resting her head on my side. The experimenting got more intense on both of us. I got 3 new quirks and a new physical upgrade. The 3 new quirks are called Light Healing, Light Javelin. Those 2 quirks need sunlight or any other kind of light to work. Considering my other 2 quirk, Natural Light and Light Battery, this is the perfect combination of quirk. The last quirk I got was Calming Aura, which goes hand in hand with my Natural Light quirk. Now my physical upgrade was strengthening my bones. After they gave me Light Healing they realized that my body was at its limit as it seems, so they gave me a calcium and protein strong chemicals that binded themselves to my bones, making them stronger. Anyways, as Ari was leaning against me the door opened and the Mad Doctor walked in. Mad Doctor. Ah, I see you and Leviathan have bonded just great. Anyways Apollo, it's your turn today. This one today though will be quite different compared to the other modifications we did. Not wanting to be dragged out and with that waking up Ari, I slowly laid her down as I scooted away before standing up. Mad Doctor. Ah, so sweet. Well Muscular, you know what to do. Muscular stepped forward and grabbed me by the back of my shirt, lifting me up and carrying me out of the room. I soon realized that we weren't walking towards the experimentation room, but instead we walked towards a white door. We walked inside the room. It was completely white with a surgery table in the middle. Muscular put me on the bed and strapped me down so I couldn't move. Now I was panicking and tried to struggle free. Muscular. Stay still, he growled out as the Mad Doctor came to us. He was pushing a small table. On it were surgical tools and something that was covered with a white cloth. He had a crazy smile on his face as he pulled off the cloth, revealing a human heart. Mad Doctor. We decided to try something new. This heart was given to us, voluntarily. We mutated it just like we did your organs, and from today on this will be your new heart. Henry. Fick Dick. Ruhr mich nicht an Arschloch. Don't touch me. Mad Doctor. Now no need for such language. I will not touch your current heart, I will just give you a second one. I tried to struggle free but then a mask was placed on my face and I passed out. Izuku Pav. It has been 2 weeks since we started to investigate into this new case, and it has been a month since the kidnapping of Heinrich Schielberg, nephew of Germany's #1 hero, and today we will finally meet the Red Knight. On the day of the UA Sports Festival, me and the team were here to watch. We would meet up with the Red Knight later. Robin. Those kids relay too much on their powers. Calder. Agreed, also there are no water users. Superboy. I guess water quirks are quite rare. Izuku. It does give some but not many. Kid Flash. This is boring, aren't we supposed to meet the Red Knight? Calder. First he will meet with Nezu and Batman, before meeting up with us. No one Pav. In Nezu's office. Red Knight. So you found nothing. Nezu. Until now the Police and Hero Commission only knows about a kidnapping, they don't know about the involvement of All for One. Red Knight. Why is that? Batman. Our information state that All for One has several spies and agents both in the local police and the Hero Commission. If we reveal that we know about the projects, then All for One will shut down and destroy as much evidence as possible, making our job harder. Red Knight. Then how are we supposed to find my nephew without the involvement of police and Hero Commission? Nezu. The thing is that All for One by now surely knows who the person is who he just kidnapped. Batman. He probably would try to block any international involvement in this case. Did you have difficulties as you requested to be part of it? Red Knight. I did, even so they allowed German investigators. I had to wait nearly 3 weeks until they allowed it, and another week until I got my work visa for Japan. Nezu. Normally all of that only takes a week. Red Knight. So he did try to block me. Batman. Probably. We will try to help you the best way we can, but the involvement of the League can't be exposed. So we decided to station the Young Justice team here in Japan for training. They will help us to investigate without too much light falling on us. Red Knight. What should I do? Batman. Looking for your nephew. Work together with the police or whoever they put besides you. If All for One thinks that he has everything under control, then the better for us. The phone on Nezu's desk started ringing. Nezu answered and exchanged a few words before hanging up. Nezu. Well, we have to go, the sports festival just ended. In the arena, in first place we see Izumi, in second a chained down Bakugo, and in third place Mira Tokugawa. Midnight. Those are our winners for this year's sports festival. The crowd cheered. Midnight lifted a hand silencing them. Midnight. Now today we got a special guest to hand out the medals. He was so kind to do it, even so the reason for him coming to Japan isn't as enjoyable as we would have wanted. Now here comes the #1 hero of Germany, the Red Knight. Footsteps followed by a clacking sound were heard as from the tunnel a man with armor and a red coat of arms emerged. The crowd was in awe before they bursted out in cheers and whistles. The Red Knight was known all around the world, even so he keeps his international involvement to minimum. He is mostly known for his fight against Metallo. His quirk is considered one of the strongest of the world. That is also a reason why he is so famous. In his hand he had 3 medals. He walked towards the podium and stepped up to the third place and in front of Mira. Red Knight. Mira Tokugawa, I was very impressed by how you used your quirk. Your will to succeed was outstanding, and I hope to see more of you in the future. He put the bronze medal around her neck. Mira. Thank you, Red Knight, sir. Then he stepped away from Mira and towards Bakugo, who was still chained and was glaring bloody murder at the hero. Red Knight. Bakugo Katsuki, you surely have a strong and interesting quirk with a lot room of improvements. But your explosive temper and anger will get you nowhere in the future, besides in an early grave. The Red Knight put the silver medal around Bakugo's neck, even so the explosive team was trashing around. Then he stepped towards Izumi and hovered over here for a second. Red Knight. Izumi Yagi, a simple quirk, but the way you used it was wonderful and very creative. But then I expected nothing less from All Might's daughter. Keep up your great work, and I can see you step out of your father's shadow eventually. He put the gold medal around Izumi's neck. Izumi. Thank you so much, Red Knight, sir. Midnight. Now let's hear it for our winners. Everyone. Plus Ultra. Henry Pav. I groaned as I woke up. Eri. Henny. I held my head as a head-splitting headache shot through my brain. Eri. Henny, you okay? Huh, that is Iris' voice. I opened my eyes and see her face above me. Henry. Hey Schneewittchen, how is it going? Eri hugged me tightly, making my back crack. That girl has more strength than you might think when you look at her. Henry. Mine Rucken. My back. Eri. They just threw you on the bed and left. Henry. Oh, did they? Well, how long was I out? Eri. 2 days. They brought me to the White Room 2 times, and every time I went and came back you were still asleep. I sat up and winced in pain. I grabbed my chest and looked down, and first of all saw that I was shirtless, second that I became quite thin, like I can see my rib cage, and third a big cut going over the middle of my chest. I pressed my hand against my chest and took a sharp breath in as I felt not only 1 but 2 hearts. They really did. Eri. Your chest sounds weird. Henry. Huh, Eri. Ever since you came back your heartbeat is different, it beat isn't in rhythm anymore. Henry. Well, I guess they gave me a second heart. Eri. Oh, that is why you got that big cut on your chest. Oh man, she shouldn't talk about this stuff as if it is normal. What the hell did they put her through? Henry. Yeah, I guess. No one Pav. With All for One. Dr. Garaki. So our last 3 experiments have all been successful. Apollo's body accepted the new heart without any issues, and Leviathan's body accepted the physical modification and new quirk. All for One. Perfect. My 2 diamonds come along perfectly. How much longer until both of them are finished? Dr. Garaki. Leviathan should be done in around 3 months, maybe 4 if we have to use more force to break her will. As for Apollo, I would give him a 6 months. All for One. I want to give Apollo more quirks. Dr. Garaki. We still have 2 quirks planned for him. All for One. I don't care, I want 2 more added to the list. Dr. Garaki. Which quirks would you like to add then? All for One. The first one should be Izuku Pav. Saying that I like my current situation is a lie. If someone say that I hate my current situation, then that would be the truth. Having a mission in Japan on its own wouldn't be that bad. What is bad that I have to see my biological family nearly every day? That is not even the worst part is that I have to work together with them as well. But I can't let them distract me. I have a job to do. I have to save someone that currently goes through the same thing that I went through. Thinking about it sended a shiver down my spine. The laughter of the doctor, the sound of the needle piercing skin, and the burning pain as the chemicals altered my body. I hope we will find him fast before they can alter his body too much, but considering that he is already missing for over a month isn't good. They probably already know that the heroes are looking for him, especially his uncle the Red Knight. So they will push and try to get him finished fast. Calder. So the Red Knight together with Eraserhead and the rest of the team went through the old laboratory where they found you. But they didn't find anything that could be of help for us. I nodded at Calder's words. The search troop thought it would be a good idea to start our search in the old laboratory where they found me in hopes to at least find a clue. Izuku. Expected as much. They would be dumb if they would have returned to it afterwards or left a clue for us to find them. Calder. It was worth a try. I leaned back looking at the ceiling. Izuku. As much as I know about those guys, they probably hide either in plain sight where nobody would suspect or in some abandoned corner in Japan. There are a lot of abandoned small islands that belong to Japan and were given up after WW2. Calder. Maybe informing the Japanese Coast Guard wouldn't be a bad idea. Izuku. There are some heroes that work on the ocean here in Japan. But their number is so small I can count them on one hand. Also, some of those islands are still military property. Calder. Wouldn't they inspect those islands then? Izuku. No. Well, I guess not. On the other side, it is most likely that All for One has some connections into the Japanese military. Calder. Which is bad. Izuku. That guy, as much as I am concerned, has a god complex, but he never managed to get past Japan's borders or grow internationally. Which in my opinion means that either the villains of the world don't like him or he is too dumb to expand. Calder. I go rather for the first one. That guy doesn't seem that dumb when he can create something like those Nomus. Izuku. Or someone like me for that matter. Henry Pav. I bit down on my lip to suppress a scream. Those fuckers just broke on of my legs. Mad Doctor. It seems that the healing aspect has kicked in nicely. I heard a loud crack coming from my leg and I screamed out as my leg fixed itself. Mad Doctor. Maybe the healing factor isn't good enough yet. Maybe we should work on your pain tolerance. Muscular grabbed my other leg and broke it, making me scream even more as he dropped my now broken leg on the table. It didn't even took 10 seconds before I heard a crack as my leg healed itself. Mad Doctor. 10 seconds faster than the other one. Seems like with each injury that is healed your healing factor becomes faster for now. Very interesting though. We only used a healing factor that should heal you 5 times faster than a normal human, but apparently combined with your quirks and new body modifications it seems though you heal 10 times faster. Truly remarkable. Henry. When ik hier rauskom dan kriest du nen so hardentrit in den arsch das du die stern siehst. Translation. I swear that when I get out of here I will give such a hard kick to your ass that you will see the stars. Mad Doctor. I still don't understand German, but I guess that you just insulted me again. Muscular stepped forward again. He lifts his hand and activates his quirk before bringing it down onto my chest. I screamed out in pure agony as my rib cage was pulverized and my internal organs were turned into mush. I was about to black out knowing I would die, but then a sound like someone stepped into mud. My chest rised again and my bones regenerated, leaving nothing behind that could remind you of that fatal injury. Mad Doctor. Well, I would definitely say that was 20 times faster. Thanks for your help, Muscular. You can bring him back to his cell now. Muscular grunted before undoing my bindings and throwing me over his shoulder. He turned around, leaving the room. The last thing I could hear the Mad Doctor say was, Mad Doctor. Dear. Then I passed out from exhaustion. 2 days later. Izuku Pav. Well, this is certainly not the way I thought this night would end. You see, me, Calder and Artemis were out to get something to eat as all of a sudden those freaking monsters attacked that we fought back in the USJ. But here we are fighting a bunch of them. Izuku. Artemis down. I screamed. Artemis quickly jumped to the ground, avoiding an attack of the flying Nomu. Now the Nomu was flying towards me. I held my bow staffed like a baseball bat and swung it with all of my strength as the Nomu was in reach. The flying Nomu was sent flying into a wall of the building, and as it tried to get up it quickly was hit with a stream of flames. Endeavor. Where are the other two? Calder. Down the street. Izuku. Calder and Artemis ran down the street following Endeavor, then Endeavor jumped in the air with the help of his quirk, cutting one of the Nomus off. Artemis shot an arrow in the back of the knee of one Nomu, causing it to take a knee for a second. That was enough time though for Artemis to shot a second arrow directly into its shoulder just as a purple mist swallowed it. Calder. It got away. Artemis. Yeah, but I managed to shoot it with a tracking arrow. We don't have much time, come on. The next day, Henry Pav. Today's experimenting was well different. I passed out as soon as the substance flowed into my body. After yesterday's break I actually expected to be put through a lot more pain, but even so I didn't felt a lot of pain. The way I woke up was definitely not pleasant, as I woke up to Eri playing with my antlers. Yeah, I got antlers now like those of a roe deer. Those bastards either gave me a mutation quirk or a transformation quirk. Anyways, I let Eri play with them until we were startled by explosions and screaming. Henry. Huh, Eri. Henny, something is happening. The sound of things crashing and screaming intensified and my eyes grew wide. Henry. They are fighting. Eri somewhat is coming to get us. At least I hoped it was that. It also could be another gang trying to get rid of those guys here. Then the door to mine and Eri's room was bust open and Muscular and the Mad Doctor came rushing in. Mad Doctor. Grab them. We have to get out of here. Muscular stepped forward and was about to grab us, but he was punched in the face and thrown into a wall. The red coat of arms and the armor told me immediately who it was. Henry. Uncle. Red Knight. Stay away from him. Muscular stood up and charged at my uncle. Occupied with the fight, I grabbed Eri and stood up. I ran towards the hole where my uncle came crashing through as I could hear the Mad Doctor scream behind me. I ran out of the hole, Eri still in my arms. As I ran, the first saw several other heroes fight some weird-looking monsters and other villains. Eri. What is going on? Henry. Everything is going to be fine, Eri. But just as I said that, I felt something crash into my back that threw me to the floor. I shielded Eri with my body as good as I could, then I felt someone grab me and lift me up, separating me from Eri. Mad Doctor. Come on. We have to get them out of here. No, no, no. I tried to free myself and accidentally activated one of my quirks. The guy holding me screamed in pain as my light javelin pierced his stomach and let me go. I rolled to the floor and quickly got on my knees, only to see the Mad Doctor and another villain dragging Eri through a purple portal. Henry. Eri. Eri. Heni. Then the portal closed. The fighting around me continued, but I didn't care. The world around me was like frozen. Red Knight. Heinrich. My uncle came running to me, his armor being severely damaged, as he kneeled down beside me. He grabbed my shoulders, but I couldn't focus anymore. The world around me became dark and I fainted. My last thought was, don't worry, Eri, I will save you. Red Knight Pav. Carl, also known as the Red Knight, has seen many things, disgusting things, sad things, and things that made him angry, and right now he was fuming with anger. Not only was his nephew taken, no, they experimented on him as well, and not only on him but on a 7-year-old girl as well. They were able to save his nephew, but the villains got away with the girl. They have to find the girl. According to Henry, she is the so-called Project Leviathan. But currently we got another problem to deal with. Nurse. Sir, please sit down, you need to rest. Henry. No, I have to get Eri. Doctor. Someone get another tranquilizer injection. This has been going on since they came here. Henry refused to rest, and every time they gave him a tranquilizer its effects would only last for 5 minutes before he would wake up again and try to get up. Henry. Let me out. I am fine. Carl. Red Knight. Heinrich. Leg. Dick. Hin. Ich und die Justice League kümmern uns das Mädchen. Wenn wir etwas rausfinden, sage ich dir Bescheid. Henry. Lay down. Me and the Justice League will take care of the girl. When we find something new we will let you know. Henry. IHR wisst nichts über sie. IHR wordet IHR nur Angst machen. You don't know anything about her. You will only scare her. I took a chair and sat down besides him, the nurses and doctors taking a few steps back. Carl. Dan sag mir was ich über das Mädchen wissen muss. Then tell me what I need to know about the girl. Timeskip. No one pav. Class 1A. Uraraka looked at the empty table of her friend. It has been only a few days since the internship ended and they got the message that their classmate Tenya Iida died in a fight against the hero killer. The class was devastated, well, most of the class besides a certain blonde. Sato. Uraraka, are you okay? You were staring at Iida's seat for a while now. Uraraka. I am fine. Just feels weird without Iida. Suyu. Yeah, class will be different without him. Uraraka. Yeah. The door to the classroom opened, but instead of their sleepy homeroom teacher Aizawa, Present Mike walked in. Present Mike. Good morning class, can I get yeah? Class. Present Mike. Tough crowd. Momo lifted her hand. Present Mike. Yes Yaoyorozu. Momo. Sorry Mike sensei, but where is Aizawa sensei? Present Mike. He is working. I can't say more, I am sorry. The same day at night, shortly before midnight, the hero killer was on the hunt again as he was overlooking the alleyways of Musudafu to bait some false heroes. But no one came, seemed like they kept away after he killed that hero student a few days ago, but unknowing to him a shadow was charging at him from behind. He was caught completely off guard as he was kicked on the back of his head, sending him flying towards the entrance of the alleyway. Thinking quickly, he thrusted his sword into the ground, bringing him to a hold, only to dodge two capture tapes that came flying directly towards him. He swung his brittle-looking sword at the capture tape in an attempt to cut it, but instead the tape got caught on one of the fractures in the sword. He tried to pull his sword, but he couldn't get the capture tape off of it. Seeing someone running towards him, he reacted fast, pulling out one of his throwing knives and throwing it at the charging figure. The figure dodged it without much of a problem. The figure finally ran into the dim light of the alleyway, revealing yellow goggles and long black hair. The hero killer recognized the figure as the underground hero Eraserhead, one of the few heroes he saw as a real hero. But this knowledge didn't save him as Aizawa jumped to deliver a roundhouse kick. He dodged barely as he felt the wind of the kick past his face. He let go of his sword and jumped backwards to avoid a kick to his guts. He quickly tried to pull out his machetes but was met with a fist to the face. Stain mind. He keeps close and attacks fast, hindering me to pull out any of my weapons. Stain blocked another punch before countering with a punch of his own. Eraserhead tried to dodge but was hit in his right shoulder. Eraserhead used the impact of the punch to spin and kick at the knee of the hero killer. He hits the armored knee of his opponent with his calve and feels the pain coursing through his leg. Ignoring it, he pushed forward, placing his foot behind the one of the hero killer. He dodges a right hook by moving under it. He then throws a wide swing with his right arm, getting the hero kill on his left shoulder before pushing him forward. The hero killer stumbled backwards and over the leg of Eraserhead, causing him to fall on his back. Trying to get up quickly, he tried to roll away only to feel a devastating kick to his ribs, making them crack. He rolled away, dodging a second kick. He jumps up to his feet, throwing three throwing knives. Eraserhead managed to dodge two of the knives, but the third one hits and buries itself in his left arm. Swallowing the pain, Eraserhead used his capture gear to grab a dumpster and smash it into the side of the hero killer, breaking his right arm and sending him flying out onto the street. Screaming was heard as people tried to get away from Stain that just landed in the middle of the road. Eraserhead came storming out of the alleyway and threw one end of his capture gear at Stain. Trying to avoid it, Stain jumped to the right only to see that the other end of the capture gear that he didn't saw being thrown, binding itself around his left leg. A pull on the capture gear was enough for Stain to smack face first into the ground. Another pull, this time stronger, sended him flying through the air and smashing into a wall. Stain cried out in pain as he landed on the ground. He groaned, rolling onto his stomach to push himself up. He saw Eraserhead walking towards him. In a panicked state, he pulls out one of his saw-like machetes. Pointing it in front of him, he tried to keep Eraserhead at distance, but the underground hero never took his icy glare that was hidden by his yellow goggles off of the killer as he continued to walk towards him. Stain. Stay away. He backed away until he hit the wall. Seeing no other way, he thrusted forward, aiming at Eraserhead's face. Eraserhead, though, dodged by simply moving his head a little bit to the right. He then jumps forward, delivering a knee to Stain's guts. Stain coughed up some blood before being punched in the face and being sent to the floor. His machete fell out of his hand as he landed on his stomach on the ground. He tries to crawl away only for Eraserhead to grab the back of his neck. Eraserhead. No running away now, you piece of shit. He lifted Stain up before smashing his head down onto the pathway. A crack resounded as the face of the killer hit the ground. Lifting him up again, Eraserhead again smashed him down, and then again and again. Before standing up, he looked down at the twitching figure of Stain, emotion of disgust crossing his face before kicking the killer so hard in the ribs it sended him rolling onto his back. Stain coughed up blood, barely able to stay conscious. Eraserhead stopped besides him, looking down at the bloody and broken face of the man who killed one of his students. He lifted his foot and kicked Stain in the face, causing Stain to spit out blood. He then kicked his right arm so hard it broke. 2 broken arms were too much and Stain finally fainted, but Eraserhead wasn't done with him as he continued to kick and stomp at the hero killer. That's enough. Someone screamed as Eraserhead was pulled away. Aizawa freed himself of the person who was holding him. Turning around, he was met with the face of the rabbit hero Mirko. Mirko. It's enough. Eraser took a couple of deep breaths before nodding. Mirko. You go, let that your arm checked out. I will take over from here on. Eraser nodded again as he walked past the rabbit hero and towards the direction of his home. He took one last look back, seeing Mirko kneeling besides the heavily beaten villain. He took off his goggles, looking at them, remembering the one who gave them to him. Aizawa. Am I a good teacher? Oboro. No one pav. Red Knight. That is everything he told me, or what he at least could gather. Batman. It isn't a lot, but it at least tells us that All for One isn't working with Luthor this time. Superman. Seems like All for One is still mad at Luthor for the failure of Project Jormander. Aquaman. Most likely, but still it seemed like he didn't learn from last time. Why would he try to create another beast? Batman. All for One has a god complex. The failure of the project with Luthor must have been a big hit to his ego. What he is basically trying to do is trying to redeem himself by creating something even more powerful. Wonder Woman. By using a 6-year-old girl. Superman. For what did he need Henry then? Red Knight. He needed a healer, a strong one at that. I guess once they were done with Henry they would have brainwashed him to serve them. Red Knight's fist clenched as he remembered the words of his nephew. His sister, Henry's mother, wouldn't even leave the hospital room her son was in for days. Martian Manhunter. The healing abilities he got are strong enough to even heal Jormander in his full size easily. Black Canary. The new project is called Leviathan. Batman. Whatever he is planning, we need to stop him before he manages to set his plan into motion. Location. Atlantis. Izuku is seen in his merman form swimming alongside his highly pregnant mother. Izuku. You sure you should be working, Mom? Mera waves him off. I am the queen. Izuku. But you are also heavily pregnant. Mera. Why should that stop me from doing my duties? Also. Izuku. Mom. Mera. Did you feel that? Izuku. Feel what? Mera closes her eyes, her magic flowing out of her and through the streets of Atlantis. Mera. Something is wrong, a shift of power. Izuku. Huh, Mera. It's gone. Izuku. Mom, are you okay? Mera. Yeah, of course, but that was weird. Like one moment there was an extreme surge of power and then it vanished. Izuku. Mom, I think it's better you get back to the palace. Mera nodded absently before turning around, 2 guards accompanying her. Izuku turned back towards the dark ocean. He felt his powers flare up as a pulse of power shocked the ground around him, causing an earthquake. The earthquake only lasted a few seconds, but it left everyone wonder where it came from. Izuku, though, was quickly pulled back to reality as he heard his mother scream in pain. He swam towards the palace in high speed, seeing several guards and maids surrounding his mother. He pushed them aside, seeing his mother kneeling on the ground holding her stomach. Izuku came to her side, followed by Volko, who laid a hand on her stomach, and a moment later his eyes widened. Volko. The baby is coming. Deku, you inform the king this instant. Servants. Help me getting her to her room and get the midwife. Izuku raced off towards the Zeta beam position. He was so hectic in his rush he forgot to transform his merman tail back to legs. As a result of that, he landed with his face first on the floor of the watchtower, successfully startling the League members that were about to leave through the beam. Aquaman. Izuku. What are you doing here? Izuku quickly transformed his fishtail back to legs. Izuku. The baby is coming. That was everything the king of Atlantis needed to hear. He picked up his son who was just getting up and rushed to the Zeta beam and teleporting to Atlantis. Several hours passed with Izuku pacing up and down in front of the door. His friends tried to calm down his nerves but without success. His father was of course allowed in, but he had to wait here. The screaming of his mother was unnerving, and it took everything in him to not use his powers, push the guards aside and rush in. But then her screaming stopped and was quickly replaced by cries of a baby. Relief and excitement filled Izuku's heart, and as soon as the door opened, Izuku rushed by a startled Volko into the room. He stopped in the middle of the room staring at the small bundle his mother held in her hands and a little hand that was reaching up to her. His father sat beside her, his arm around her shoulder as he also smiles down at the little bundle. This scene made Izuku question himself if Inko and Toshinori ever looked at him that way, as he was as small as this. Mera. Izuku. Izuku. Huh? Mera. Come here and meet your little brother, Arthur Jr. Izuku swam over hesitantly but gained a big smile once he saw the baby's face. Big blue eyes were looking at him with curiosity, before the little baby giggled, reaching one hand out to him. Mera motioned for Izuku to take the small baby. Eagerly but gently he took the baby from her and rocked it on his arm. Izuku. Hey little one, I am your big brother. The baby just looked at him before giggling again, which also made Izuku laugh. His family just got bigger and he couldn't be happier. Somewhere in Japan. Doctor. The test was a success, master. She transformed into her form and back without any issues, and we were also able to keep control of her. All for one. Good, keep up the work. The loss of Project Apollo might have been a throwback, but I want Project Leviathan done by the end of the year. Doctor. Of course, master. A bar in Gotham, USA. I thought you were on a job, Lawton. Lawton, also known as Deadshot, looked up from his glass of whiskey. Lawton, Deadshot. I just got it done. What do you want, Slade? Slade, Deathstroke. Do you remember Project Jormander? Lawton, Deadshot, of course. I am not working for Luther if he planning something like this again. Slade, Deathstroke. No worries, this time it is about the opposite. Lawton looks into the eyes of the mercenary before leaning back. Lawton, Deadshot. Then let it hear, Slade. No one pov. It has been 3 months since Arthur Jr. Curry, Crown Prince of Atlantis, was born, and right now the little prince was annoying his big brother. Izuku. Arthur, ow. Please let go of my ear. Arthur Jr. had grabbed one of Izuku's fin-like ears and watching it in curiosity, before he decided he wanted to chew on it. Izuku. No chewing on my ear. Izuku quickly pulls Arthur Jr. away from his ear, which caused the baby prince to cry. The cries scared Izuku and he quickly began trying to calm the crying baby. Tula. Aw. So cute. Izuku shot her a glare, but there was no real heat behind it. Tula. Man, I wished I could make a picture now. Queen Mera would love it. Calder. She definitely would. Tula. Where is the king and queen actually? Izuku. Mom has some diplomatic matters to attend. As for dad, he has a meeting with the league. I don't know when they will be back, but till then I am babysitting. Tula swims up to Izuku and sits down beside him. Arthur looks at her and then stretches his little hands out to her. Tula smiles as she takes the baby from Izuku. Tula. Well, aren't you a cute one? Location. Tokyo, Haneda Airport. Soma Modioshi is a middle-aged, skeletal, thin, unemployed man. Well, he isn't entirely unemployed, he does work, but not in the way someone would expect. Soma. Another foreigner. Fucking great, wasn't that German brat enough? Soma Modioshi is a professional kidnapper, his quirk chloroform helping him a lot in this case. Today he is supposed to kidnap a Korean girl. The boss was interested in the girl's quirk. After around 2 hours of waiting, the machine from Korea finally landed. The girl would arrive with her parents, but he probably could get her near the taxis, or if he gets lucky maybe she has to go to the toilets. He stood up from the bench he was sitting on and was about to go to the terminal where the girl would exit. But his advance was stopped as he felt something wet run down his face. He reached up to his head. What is that? He thought as he pulled his hand away from his head, only to see it full with his own blood. Soma. Oh. Were his last words as he fell face forward on the ground. People start to scream and panic while Soma's blood stained the ground. Meanwhile, on a building opposite to the airport building, we can see a black man calmly and gently deconstruct a sniper rifle and puts it in a suitcase made just to carry it. Just as he was about to leave, he got a message on his phone. Text messages. Slade. A clean headshot. Good job, Lawton. Lawton. So that was guy number 1. Slade. Yeah, we only got 45 more left. Lawton. Well, that is gonna be fun. Lawton puts his phone back into his pocket as he made his way down, joining the busy streets of Tokyo. Location unknown. A dark room is lit up as several monitors turned on. On each monitor another person was seen. One of those people is Lex Luthor, and in the middle of formerly dark room stands Vandal Savage. Savage. Luthor, we picked up some worrisome things from Japan. What the hell are you doing there? Luthor. Cleaning up some of my past mistakes. Clarion. Oh, you mean All for One and his little projects. Savage. What do you know, Luthor? Luthor. I stopped getting involved in his schemes after the failure of Project Jormander, so I just know those things that I am able to gather. Savage. Which are? Luthor. Project Apollo and Leviathan. Project Apollo is already in the hands of the Justice League, but Project Leviathan is still going and about to be finished. Clarion. I felt a great shift of power 3 months ago, so I guess that this Leviathan project was the reason for it? Luthor. Most likely. Savage. All for One is too dangerous to be left alone. I hope you already started something, Luthor? Luthor nodding. I did. All for One's main source of power are stealing quirks, but he can't go out himself because of his weakened body and the risk of getting into a big fight. So he needs people to get him, people with quirks that are interesting to him. I hired Deathstroke and Deadshot to take care of those people. Savage. Hire more if necessary and try to get your hands on that Project Leviathan. It may be useful in our hands. No one Pav. Location. Mount Justice, Black Canary. Team, this is your new teammate. He was recommended to us by the Red Knight. Henry Schildberg. He will be your main medic from now on. His codename isn't yet decided, though I have no doubt that he will have one soon. Henry waved at them shyly. AHM. Hi everyone. Calder. Welcome to the team, Henry. I am Calder, the leader of the team, and I am glad to have you on board. Robin. Yeah, it's good to finally have a medic on the team, especially with Wally and Izuku. Wally and Izuku. Hey. Wally and Izuku glared at Robin while the young vigilante just smirked at them. Black Canary. How about some of you show Henry around? Also, Calder, I need to have a quick word with you. Calder followed Black Canary out of the room while Megan floated over to Henry and excitedly shaked Henry's hand. Megan. Hey, I am Megan, but out on the field I am Miss Martian, and it's really nice to have you on the team. Henry. It's an honor to be here. Thank you. Izuku. How about I show you around? We are gonna join you guys in lounge, is that okay? The rest of the team nods as they made their way to the lounge. Megan wanted to be part of the tour, but Connor took her with him. Izuku. How about we start with the training rooms? Henry. Sounds good. Izuku began leading Henry around the base, but while Izuku was explaining the different rooms they passed, Henry had other thoughts on his mind. Izuku. So you look like you want to ask me something? Henry. Huh? Izuku. I know that look. Believe me, I used it a lot, especially at the beginning of my career. Henry looked down, his eyes fixed on the floor. Henry. How do you deal with it? Izuku. With what? Henry. The pain they put you through. How did you heal from it? Izuku. I didn't. Henry looked up at him with surprise in his eyes. Henry. What? Izuku. You can never truly heal from something like that. Equally how much you may try, the pain of what happened and the memories will never leave you alone. For me, it nearly has been 4 years and I still have dreams about being back on that table with the mad doctor above me, and then I wake up screaming. Henry looked downcast, his shoulders slumping down. Henry. So I'm stuck like this for the rest of my life? Izuku. I wish I could say no, but yeah. It'll never stop hurting, but you can use that hurt to do something. That is why I became a hero. Henry nodded, letting out a sigh. Izuku. Sorry that I can't tell you anything else. But that would be lying and that would only make it worse. Izuku puts a hand on Henry's shoulder. Izuku. But if you ever need someone to talk to, then I am here. Now. Come on, we still have to finish this tour and after that we go to the lounge where the others are waiting for us. Location. Somewhere in Japan. Dr. Garaki went over the files of his last experiments, which included upgrades on the Nomus, mutation serums, quirk fusion experiments and of course Project Leviathan. Project Leviathan was his masterpiece, his greatest creation, his life work. Sure, she isn't as strong as Jormander, at least not yet. But she is getting there. Of course she would already be there if they had access to Luther's technology like they had during Project Jormander. Sadly, Luther lost interest in working with them after the Justice League freed the boy. That though is only a small setback, a bigger one was the lose of Project Apollo. Project Apollo with his powers was supposed to give Project Leviathan a major boost in her development. But now Project Apollo is gone as well, also in the hands of the Justice League. Anyways, those are worries for later. Right now he should concentrate on evolving the high-end Nomus, make them even stronger. His concentration was broken though as his phone rang. Groaning, he picked it up. Dr. Garaki. Dr. Garaki here. As Dr. Garaki listened to what the person on the other side of the phone had to say, his eyes widened before he slammed the papers he was holding on the table. Dr. Garaki. What do you mean we can't get the parts? The henchman on the other side of the phone gulped before answering. His answer making Dr. Garaki even angrier. Dr. Garaki. So, you want to tell me that Luther bought the entirety of Summa Tech Enterprise? Henchman over phone. Yes sir, it was a hostile takeover as much as I understand, and they don't want to do any business with us. All the guys which worked for us or were bribed within the company were fired overnight. So we literally can't get anything anymore. Dr. Garaki. Great. Try to find another tech company that want to do business with us and try to get your guys in there and hurry up. We need those parts as fast as possible. Henchman. Yes sir. Dr. Garaki hanged up, putting the phone down harder than necessary. Dr. Garaki. Great, the master won't be happy. Dr. Garaki was about to press a button on the phone to call his secretary only to realize that in his anger he accidentally broke the phone. Dr. Garaki. Great, this day can't get any worse. Just then another henchman walked in with a folder in his hand. Dr. Garaki. You never heard of knocking? Henchman. Sorry sir. But we just got the message that another one of our quirk suppliers has been found dead in his apartment this morning. Dr. Garaki put his face in his hands before he let out a scream of pure anger. Little did the doctor know that this was only the beginning of his and all for one's downfall. The next day. Location. Atlantis. We can see Tula hanging out with some of her other friends as she sees Izuku in his merman form swimming towards her. They stopped their conversation as Izuku finally caught up to them. Tula. Hey Izu. Tula's friends. Prince Deku. Izuku. Hey Tula. Hey girls, could I borrow Tula for a moment or two please? Tula's friends said they had no problem and they left Tula and Izuku alone. Tula. So what is it, Izu? A mission for the team or something for King Orin? Izuku. Nothing of that. Tula. Oh, then what is it? Izuku. I just wanted to ask if you would be interested in going to the theater with me this Saturday. Only if you are interested, of course. Tula smiled and without hesitation answered, I would love to. Which time? Izuku let out a breath that he didn't knew he was holding. Izuku. Well, the play starts at 8 p.m. so I would pick you up at 6. We could grab something to eat first if you like. Tula. That sounds nice. Izuku. I am glad. Tula. Then I will see you on Saturday. Have a nice day, Izu. Izuku. You too. Tula swam away followed by her friends. Izuku also swam back to his home as he finally reached his room. Then he closed the door behind him. The grin on his face just grew and grew by the second, before he let out a scream of triumph followed by a quick victory dance. No one paw. All for one was furious. The last month was nothing but bad news for him. First he lost his Project Apollo, the project which main purpose it was to keep him alive even longer. Second, now he got the League on his tail with Jormander leading the charge, and third, now Luther is also after him. The loss of Summa Tech Enterprise as tech supplier makes it hard to get to the parts that are needed to create high-end Nomus. But what was even more annoying was the fact that several rare quirks went through his fingers. Several of his quirk suppliers were found dead either at their workplace or in their home. All for One knows that the deaths of his quirk suppliers stood in connection with Luther. But how should he deal with Luther? All for One is over 200 years old, and in his entire life he never met a person with a mind like Luther's. The man was a genius and good at everything he does, well, in mostly everything. Now it was All for One's moment to smirk. Luther may be good with words and his money can get him out of a lot of things. But Luther did one thing wrong: he underestimated All for One. Even though All for One may not have the same resources as Luther does, he does have his ways of getting what he wants. All for One pushed a button on his chair, his smirk widening even more. Location: USA, Internet Cafe in Gotham. Barbara Gordon took a sip from her coffee as she scrolled through the worldwide news. Normally she would look at those things over her bat computer in her apartment, but she can't be cramped in her apartment all day. Equally how big it is, also moving around does her some good. So as she was scrolling through the news she saw an article that got her attention. Barbara. Holy shit, well, Luther will be pissed. Breaking news. Today shocking news reached the world. Lex Luthor, genius, billionaire and biggest candidate for the position of UN Secretary, was today exposed to be involved in meta-trafficking. Several videos, text messages and pictures have been uploaded in various internet sites and shared millions of times already. Among the leaked material were also several interactions between Lex Luthor and a villain called All for One. In those conversations was discussed the progress of Project Jormander, and before people ask, yes, with that project is meant the one and only Jormander, the Prince of Atlantis Deku, or as he is also known as Izuku Yagi. How those news are going to influence Luthor's candidacy for the position of UN Secretary is yet to see, but one thing is for sure: Atlantis is not going to vote for him anymore. Barbara sent a copy of the link to Dick and Bruce before turning off the computer. She paid for the coffee and then made her way back to her apartment. She had work to do. Location: Izuku's room in the Royal Palace of Atlantis. Izuku read and reread the article which Dick sent him. But to be honest, he doesn't know how to feel about it. Like, on one side he is happy about Luther finally getting some form of punishment. On the other hand, this article also puts him back in the spotlight, and that is mostly because of the use of his former last name. Why did they have to use his old surname? Why couldn't they just call him Izuku Curry? Well, there is nothing he can do about that now. All he can do is wait and see what happens. Anyways, today is a special day. Today is the day he would finally go on a date with Tula. He would take her to the Trader Festival and later on go to the theater. Hopefully everything goes well. Location: Luthor Building in Metropolis, main office. Luthor wasn't happy. He wasn't happy at all. Sitting in his office, his eyes closed, he was thinking about what happened a couple of hours ago. He clearly underestimated All for One. He thought the man was an arrogant idiot and that caused him to let his guard down. Now he is paying the price for it. He knows that there is no way for him to be voted as UN Secretary now. The countries that struggle with meta-trafficking will withdraw their support for him, and he lost any support he had from Atlantis the moment Yagi's name was mentioned in the news. Luthor sat back in his chair as he opened his eyes. Luthor. This is going to be harder than I thought. Last location jump, I promise. Location: Theater Plaza in Atlantis. Izuku was smiling ear from ear. He and Tula just got out of the theater, and it seems like that Tula liked the play which Izuku chose. Tula: I didn't even knew they could also play comedies. Izuku: well, they are rarer, but each time they are played the theater is full, so I don't know why the theater plays them so rarely. Tula: well, I am glad I got to see it. I am not at the theater that often. Izuku: me either, but it's nice to go from time to time. Tula: didn't you chose your name from a theater character? Izuku chuckling: yeah, I did, but that doesn't mean I go to the theater. Izuku stopped as he looked to the distance. Tula: Izu, you okay? Izuku: oh yeah. I just thought I felt something. The two continued on their date, both oblivious to the chaos that would arise soon. No one pav. Location: Gotham, Wayne Manor in the Batcave. Batman sat in the Batcave, his eyes fixed on the screen, one of his hands rubbing his chin as he looked at the evidence in front of him. The evidence was about an underground facility in Japan where All for One creates his monsters. He found the evidence as he looked deeper into this little mud battle between All for One and Lex Luthor. Of course Batman knew what this was about. Luthor wants to get rid of All for One. That is why Luthor bought up Suma Tech Enterprise. That is also the reason why Deathstroke and Deadshot are in Japan at the moment. The release of Luthor's involvement in meta-trafficking and in the experimentation on Izuku must have been the counterattack from All for One. But Luthor retaliated was quick and brutal as he bought up All for One, major supplier for chemicals and pharma products, and shortly after that there was a report about several shady people being found dead. It was clear who was winning this fight, but the problem is that All for One will not just lay low, and when he sees that he can't win against Luthor in the shadows, then he will try it on open field, and that may cause a lot of chaos over Japan. He needed to find a way to stop that from happening, but for now he got a new mission for the Young Justice team. Location: Mount Justice. Izuku and Calder beamed into the mountain as they got the message about a new mission. Calder: No, but honestly, how did your date with Tula go? Izuku: It went well. The festival offered a lot of entertainment and the theater play was fabulous. Calder: I told you she would like it. Izuku: Yeah, sorry for doubting you. So Artemis: There you guys are. Calder: I am sorry if we are late, but we had to deal with something at home. Red Tornado: Good, now that everyone is here, let me get to the mission. We got evidence of underground facility in the heart of Musudafu in Japan, where the villain known as All for One creates his monsters called Nomus. You have fought against those creatures already. Calder: At the USJ, yes. Izuku: You want to tell me there are more? Red Tornado: Probably a few hundred. Kid Flash sarcastically: Sounds great. Red Tornado: Your mission is to destroy the facility and the Nomus in it. This may bring All for One out of hiding though, so we got some leaguers on standby if it should get out of control. You will leave in an hour. Red Tornado leaves the meeting room, leaving the young heroes among themselves. Artemis: So anyone got a plan? Calder looks at the pictures that were still visible on the screen. Calder: The area the lab is an industry area, so we don't have to worry too much about civilians. Robin: On the other side, this industry area with several big warehouses and production centers around it with big machines that can explode and other things that can explode and catch fire. Izuku: Well, the area is more on the outskirts of Musudafu, but Musudafu is within the Shizuoka prefecture and that is part of Tokyo. Robin: And Tokyo is quite populous. Artemis: That sounds like an understatement. Calder: Listen up, I got a plan. As Calder explains the plan, Izuku turns to Henry, seeing the anxious face of his new teammate. Izuku puts a hand on the smaller boy's shoulder and gives it a slight squeeze. Izuku: You can sit this one out if you want. Henry: Thanks, but I can't. I have to go. Location: Somewhere in Musudafu, Japan. A scream of pure rage filled the dark room as All for One threw the dead body of a henchman through the wall. His anger was boiling over. Luthor again outsmarted him, taking away his greatest supplier of chemicals, and worst of all, he had no quirk suppliers left. They are all dead, killed by Luthor's goons. All for One had enough of Luthor's games. He knew he was beaten in the shadows. But now it was time to take it on the battlefield. Luthor was in Japan. That is everything All for One needs. All for One. Garaki. Dr. Garaki squeaks: Yes, master. All for One. It's time to put Japan under siege. No one will leave this island unless I know it. Dr. Garaki: But master. All for One. Do it. Luthor and his goons will not leave this island alive. Dr. Garaki: Yes, master, of course, master. Dr. Garaki runs out of the room in terror. It has been decades since the last time he saw his master so angry, and the last time he was that angry. Let's just say the whole of Japan felt it, and they sure will as well this time. No one paused. The night was quiet in Musudafu, nearly too quiet. There were a handful of heroes on patrol, but they had nothing to do as there were no villains, or so they thought. Because in the dark streets near an unsuspecting normal-looking warehouse were two groups about to take down whatever is inside it. One group was the Young Justice team here for their mission, the other one a team of Japanese pro-heroes led by Atami Yagi, the biological older brother of Izuku. The two groups didn't know of each other as both of them slowly approached the warehouse, their moves concealed by the night's darkness. But then as the Young Justice team approached the entrance to the warehouse they were discovered by the Japanese team. Atami and Hawk's friends ever since they started their hero career stormed forward thinking that the other team is part of the villains. Artemis and Kid Flash were the first one to see the attacking heroes, and immediately countered to stop it. Artemis shot an explosive arrow between Atami and Hawk separating them and stopping their attack. Then Kid Flash ran up to Atami in super speed and punched him in the face sending him crashing into a wall. Hawks tried to come to his friend's aid but his wings were grabbed by two strong arms and he was forced face first to the ground. It was Superboy who forced Hawks to the ground. Seeing two of their comrades being attacked, the rest of the Japanese heroes were about to attack but luckily. Death Arms. Wait, those guys are from the Justice League. An awkward silence fell over the area after this, the Japanese heroes not knowing how to react. Meanwhile Superboy got off of Hawks and walked back to his group as Atami helped his friend up. Hawks. What are you guys doing here? Calder. I guess the same thing that you were about to do. Atami glances at Izuku and then back at Calder. Atami. The League has no business in Japan. Artemis. We do, we have official rights to be within the borders of Japan and carry out this mission. Better question is why are you guys even here? The Hero Commission should have informed you that we would take this over. Atami. They didn't, but we came here because a hero student has been kidnapped. This is an entirely new mission, we are here to rescue the student. Izuku. And we are here to destroy this warehouse and the Nomus inside, we weren't informed about a kidnapped student. Atami looks at Izuku again as he continued. Atami. It happened about 2 days ago and the Hero Commission thought that we best kept it a secret. Calder. Well then, they were interrupted as the entrance of the warehouse exploded. Quickly the heroes took fighting stances as the Nomus started to charge out of the warehouse and towards them. Kid Flash. Well, this got ugly real fast. Kid Flash quickly dodged a fire attack from one of the Nomus before running forward and punching the Nomu that sended flames at him straight in the face. The Nomu was thrown back and into a wall. Despite that, the Nomu quickly got up, no sign of injury before it ran back into the fight. Meanwhile Superboy was taking on two Nomus at the same time, one had an axe for a head while the other one had chainsaw hands. He easily dodged the charge of the axe Nomu and then grabbed both hands of the chainsaw Nomu. Using his super strength he rips of both of the Nomu's arms, then he quickly spins around smacking the axe Nomu with the ripped of arms of its comrade. Henry couldn't do much, he didn't had as much control over his new quirks and powers as the others did. All he could do was stand back and run to those who got injured. He was just about to run towards the injured Death Arms as a Nomu got in his way. This Nomu was just as huge as the others, but he had long bony arms and legs with an exposed skull instead of an exposed brain. The Nomu screeched at Henry as it lifts its long arms, showing the long blade-like claws it had. It was about to attack him. A stream of hot water shot in the Nomu's face, forcing it to divert its attention from Henry. It was Izuku who spied hot water at the Nomu, basically boiling it. Henry wanted to help too, but he had no experience in fighting. He barely got 2 weeks of training and only knows the basics of the quirks and powers he got. But that shouldn't stop him, right? He saw how the skeleton-like Nomu turned its back to him, so thinking quickly he activated his light javelin quirk and threw it at the back of the Nomu. The javelin connected and pierced right through the Nomu, and 1 second later the Nomu combusted into a ball of light, leaving nothing behind. Izuku and Henry stared at each other for a few seconds before Izuku said, Izuku. No using that on living opponents. Henry. Yes. The two quickly were pulled back to the situation they were in as a still injured Death Arms called out for help. Henry ran to the injured hero, healing quirk at the ready, while Izuku charged the next Nomu. Luther was standing on top of the Suma Tech building. He was wearing his warsuit, patiently awaiting the arrival of his opponent. He heard a sound behind him and turned around just to see All For One, Shigaraki and the League of Villains coming out of a mist-like portal. All For One. Luther. Luther. All For One. The two villains stood opposite of each other, the air around them thick with anticipation. Luther. I see that you brought your army with you. I must say, I didn't expect you to go full out. All For One. Against a person like you, how could I not? Luther. Honestly, I am quite surprised. I didn't expect you to be that much of a thorn in my side. All For One. Neither did I. Luther nods. You know that you can't win, right? All For One. Oh really, How is that? Luther. Well, today you will lose your army and tomorrow the little what was left of your empire will follow. Dobby. With what army are yo? Dobby was cut of as his head snapped backwards and he fell to the ground lifeless. The rest of the villains beside All for One were shocked at the sudden death of their comrade. Their question who killed him though was answered as they turned back to Luther and they saw Deadshot standing on top of another building behind him. Then Sportsmaster, Poison Ivy, Cheetah, Bane and Deathstroke came out of the shadows surrounding All for One's group. Luther. I think you bargained for more than you could take. All for One. All for One said nothing that was until several explosions were heard and chaos broke out in the city behind them. But that wasn't the end as a loud roar was heard and a second later an enormous glowing white serpent shot up from the water towering over the entire city of Tokyo. All for One. I could say the same to you. Luther narrowed his eyes at All for One. Luther. Let's get this over with. The battle for Japan has started and Leviathan has already entered the battlefield. The streets of Musutafu were in complete chaos. Nomus ran around destroying everything that got in their way. Meanwhile the heroes were overwhelmed. They tried their best to keep the Nomus at bay, but with the destruction all around them their hands were full, and then there was the giant serpent watching down on them. Leviathan didn't do anything yet besides being there, but the sheer presence of her was enough to send anyone running for the hills, but that should change soon. The battle between Luther and All for One was just beginning, but already it was clear who had the upper hand. Luther's group of villains easily managed to get All for One and his group to split up, and now it was only Luther versus All for One. Luther shot a laser at All for One while the other stomped the ground, creating a wall to protect himself. Luther. You really thought your serpent over there was going to do anything? All for One chuckled as he disbanded the wall. All for One. Leviathan isn't the only one that I brought. Say hello to Gigantomachia. The ground shook again and Luther saw a giant form of a rock-like beast run towards the city at high speed. Luther. Another one of your monsters. How many do you even have? Well, that is determination on its finest if I ever saw it. All for One shot a blast at Luther, but Luther countered with one of his own, causing explosion in the middle. Luther then shot forward through the smoke of the explosion and shoulder barged into All for One's chest, sending him flying into and through a building. Luther then started speaking over his intercom, and a second later Gigantomachia was restrained by giant vines. Now Luther was glad that he brought Poison Ivy to this. Leaving Gigantomachia to Ivy, Luther walked towards the hole in the wall where All for One just flew through mere moments ago. As he approached he saw a shadow rising from the dust. Luther. Well, it would have been disappointing if you would have been done already. All for One breathes heavily as he gets up, realizing that his mask was already broken. Luther. I knew that you were old, but this, I honestly expected more. Though not everyone can be like Ross Al Ghul, can they? All for One groaned in frustration before letting out a roar and sending a beam in Luther's direction. While the fight between Luther and All for One was going on in another part of town, Gigantomachia tried his best to get free from the roots that were restraining him. But each time he managed to rip one of another, one even thicker came. It was getting frustrating for him. He just wanted to stay by his master's side to help him in battle, yet he was held back by a small green lady with bright red hair. Poison Ivy. Oh, you are an interesting one. Another root came out of the ground and lifted the green lady up to be on eye level with Gigantomachia. Poison Ivy. I think I will keep you. Ivy gets close to Gigantomachia's face, making sure he can't move his head in any way before she kisses his nose, and that was all it took as a green hue covered Gigantomachia's eyes and he stopped struggling against the restraints holding him. Ivy frees Gigantomachia, who then just sits down in front of her waiting for orders. Poison Ivy. Ah, see, this is much better. Poison Ivy smirks at her new pet but was quickly brought back to the current situation as she feels a sharp pain in her leg. Looking down she sees a knife stuck in her thigh. Then she looks from where the knife came from and sees Toga on the opposite roof. Ivy sends some roots her direction, but Toga skillfully dodges them before throwing another knife in Ivy's direction, which she easily dodged as well. Toga continued to dodge and attack Ivy, but it was difficult considering that Ivy was on a route far enough away from her so that Toga couldn't attack her directly and had to resort to throwing knives. But Ivy had no such problem and even seemed bored while she pulled the knife out of her thigh. Poison Ivy. Hey, go get her and bring her to me alive. Gigantomachia nods as he obediently walks over to the building where Toga, The giant tried to grab the girl, but Toga jumped onto his arm and ran up to his head while also avoiding Gigantomachia's other hand. She throws a knife at his eye and manages to hit it, but that was a mistake as Gigantomachia stumbled backwards, bringing his hands up to his face, that causing Toga to be thrown off and falling to the ground, but she was caught by Root just before she could meet her solid end. Realizing what was happening, she used her last remaining knife in an attempt to cut herself free, but her attempt was futile as a hand grabbed her wrist, twisting it and causing her to drop the knife. The Root turned her around and she came face to face with Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy. My, you are a feisty one, aren't you? Toga tries to hit Ivy with her one free hand, but Ivy is quicker and grabs it just as firm as the other. Then a thin Root came up behind Toga and continues to bind both of her hands behind her back with her hands restrained. Toga could do nothing as Ivy pulls down her mask. But that doesn't mean she would go down easily, as she tried to bite Ivy's hand that got too close to her mouth. Poison Ivy. You remind me of someone that I know. Ivy smirks as she grabs Toga's jaw, making the girl look at her. Poison Ivy. You know what, I will keep you as well. Ivy closes the gap between them and smashes her lips onto Toga's. The younger girl tried to resist and pull her head away, but Ivy made sure she couldn't pull away. Toga felt her mind getting foggy, and for a final time she tried to pull away from the kiss, but to no avail. She gasps as she feels Ivy grabbing her butt and giving it a firm squeeze. Ivy, taking the opportunity of Toga's gasp, stucks her tongue into the younger girl's mouth. The kiss was intoxicating and Toga felt her mind becoming numb. Her thoughts vanishing, all she started to think about was doing whatever her mistress wanted from her. Ivy broke the kiss, a string of saliva connecting them. Ivy smirked as she looked into Toga's eyes. Gone was the white and golden yellow eye color, replaced by a firm green color. Poison Ivy. Who do you belong to? Toga. You, mistress. Poison Ivy. Good girl. Ivy lifts herself and Toga on top of Gigantomachia. Ivy. Tell me where your friends are, little girl. Scene end. A loud roar filled the air of Tokyo and everyone looked up to see the giant serpent opening its mouth as a bright ball of light forms in its mouth. People scream and scramble over each other to get away from the impending attack. Heroes tried their best to get as many people to safety as possible, but it became clear that there was no way to escape. But before Leviathan could fire its beam, another giant serpent crashed into. This serpent was green and gray in color and was more snake-like in form. This was Jormander, also known as Deku, the Prince of Atlantis. The battle between the world serpent and the Leviathan has begun. No one paused. The ground shook and the air vibrated as Jormander and Leviathan attacked each other, their giant bodies dancing around each other in an attempt to overpower the other. But either of them managed to overpower the other, and so they were stuck in a seemingly endless loop of fighting. But what neither of the two realized was the chaos they caused. Everyone, even Nomus, tried to get to safety at the sight of the giant beasts fighting. Well, almost everyone. Some heroes still tried to maintain some sort of order, like Endeavor and his wife Icewave, but despite their best efforts they aren't able to. All Might does his best fighting the Nomus, while Inko uses her quirk to the point of exhaustion to save everyone she can. She was about to turn to another street full of people as a yellow-red blur appeared, and in less than 5 seconds the entire street was empty. Inko. What? Kid Flash. Hey, don't just stand there, we got a job to do. On another street, Superboy was fighting 2 Nomus at the same time while Miss Martian levitated a bus full of people away. Superboy was doing pretty good on his own, but then a third Nomu charged at him. Superboy knew he would get hit since he had his hands full. But then the charging Nomu was hit by something and was sent flying into a wall. The thing that hit the Nomu stood up and Superboy saw white bunny ears. Before they came charging towards one of the Nomus he was fighting. Mirko. Damn, and I thought you American superheroes are supposed to be better than us? Superboy rolled his eyes as he punched the one Nomu in the face hard enough to make his head explode. Superboy. I just forgot that those things are nothing else but zombies. All for One breathed heavily. His mask was destroyed and he had used nearly all of the quirks in his arsenal, and yet Luther didn't seem even remotely tired. He had played all his cards, but none of them seemed to work on Luther. Meanwhile, Luther just calmly walked towards the exhausted All for One, but his walk was interrupted and he had to steady himself as the ground shook again. Both Luther and All for One looked towards the battle of Jormander and Leviathan. Leviathan began to shoot a beam from his mouth at Jormander, who answered by spitting water at Leviathan, their attacks meeting in the middle, causing shockwaves to go through the air. All for one. Do you see this? Do you see what we could do together, Luther? The world could be ours for the taking. Luther was impressed by the sheer power both Leviathan and Jormander displayed. Despite Jormander being more experienced, it seemed that they were fighting on equal terms. Luther was silent for a few moments, but then a smirk made its way onto his face. Luther. Well, old pal, while I want a lot of things, the world isn't one of them. All for one screamed, his scream a combination of anger and fear at the same time. He charged up another one of his quirks, but Luther immediately shot a blast at him, sending All for One flying through the wall of a garage building and through several cars that were parked there. All for One groaned in pain as he pulled himself out of a car and just dodged in time to avoid another blast from Luther. Thinking quickly, All for One sent a beam of fire towards Luther, who answered with a beam of his own. Their attacks met each other in the middle. The flames of All for One and the beam of Luther mixed with each other, and a slow hiss was heard before the entire garage exploded, green flames engulfing it, melting the concrete it was made out of. Leviathan roared as it finally found opening in Jormander's defense. It lunged forward, closing its massive jaws around the other serpent's neck. The two struggled for a bit, but eventually Leviathan managed to wrestle the other serpent down, both of them vanishing beneath the surface. Only waves and splashing water showing the massive fight that was going on underneath. Underneath the surface, Jormander tried his best to get out of Leviathan's bite while also trying to get as far away from the coast as possible. Finally, Jormander was able to free itself from Leviathan's jaw. Then as quickly as possible he moved his giant body to coil around Leviathan. Now it was Leviathan's turn to struggle as Jormander tightens his grip around Leviathan as he pulls her deeper and deeper into the darkness of the ocean. Back on the surface, the situation seemed to somewhat calm down with the disappearance of the two serpents. Deathstroke was surprised at the sudden silence as he pulled his sword out of Shigaraki's head. Deathstroke. Seems like everything is done. Bane comes out of a dark alleyway, the head of Mr. Compress in his right hand. Bane. One monster is still left. He pointed towards the brown giant that was Gigantomachia. Deathstroke. Yeah, but we can let the Japanese deal with that one. Bane. Any news of Luther? Deathstroke. Haven't heard of him since this whole thing here started. Deathstroke lifted one hand to his ear and exchanged a few words with the other members of the team. He finds out that Cheetah and Sportsmaster are done with the once they were fighting. Deadshot still struggled with a Nomu, and Poison Ivy was in control over the giant beast. Though she abandoned it since the heroes started to attack it now. Hearing nothing of Luther though, Deathstroke gave the command to pull back and meet at the gathering point. He then looks one last time at the dead Shigaraki before he and Bane vanished in the dark. The League of Villains was no more. The earth rumbles and the water level raises as a deep growl was heard from the ocean. The surface is calm, but then giant waves started to be created and suddenly the surface broke as a giant body emerged from the deeps. Its sudden appearance creating tsunamis. People all over Japan stopped what they were doing as everyone from Hokkaido in the north to Kyushu in the south saw the creature raise up. The creature's head was in the clouds before it lowered it. The people of Tokyo fell to their knees as they saw the giant creature coming for them. But it stopped just above the city and opened its massive jaws, and from it fell Leviathan body falling into the Bay of Tokyo. Jormander had won the fight against Leviathan. The battle was over. No one pav. The rays of the world serpent, they call it on the news as they showed videos that came in from all over Japan. There were even videos from Busan in South Korea and Shanghai in China showing the massive form that was Jormander. Up in the watchtower, the members of the League looked at the footage of the battle and the ultimate climax. Shazam! He is fucking huge. Batman. His total height is about 25 miles, 40 kilometers, what we see in the footage, considering that we can add another 20 miles, 32 kilometers, which are underwater. Wonder Woman. He was visible all the way to Shanghai and created 2 tsunamis by simply breaking through the surface. Black Canary. People are afraid of him now, and the UN is actually talking about putting his powers under restrictions. Aquaman could do nothing but listen as the conversation about his son continued. That was until Batman pulled something up for everyone to see. Batman. This just came in. It was a news article about 2 burned corpses being found in the melted ruins of a park house. Batman. A DNA test has shown that one of the two corpses is Luther, the other one is unknown, but guessing that Luther was seen fighting All for One on CCTV cameras, it is most likely that the other corpse is him. Superman. Quite hard to believe that Luther is truly gone. Green Arrow. What about this other monster? Batman. Has been captured as well, though it's unclear what is gonna happen to it. Martian Manhunter. What about the rest of All for One's allies? Batman. The villains, Dabi, Shigaraki, Kurogiri, Mr. Compress, Twice and Magna have been found dead, Toga and Spinner are still missing. Henry was sitting beside Eri in the hospital part of the watchtower. He volunteered to look over her for the night. Henry couldn't help himself as a smile tugged on the corners of his mouth. Eri looked so peaceful, you barely could see the pain the little girl went through. Henry gently ran one hand through Eris's hair as he looked at the sleeping girl. Henry. Hey Eri, remember the promise I gave you? About the apple pie. If you wake up then I can make that promise come true. Silence filled the room and Henry sighed. They told him it may take a couple of weeks if not months before Eri would wake up. Henry. I am part of the Young Justice team now, you know. They are really nice. Izuku is sorry about hurting you. He hopes that you don't hold it against him, though he would understand if you would. Henry grabs Eri's little hand and squeezes it lightly as a tear ran down his cheek. Henry. I am sorry that I wasn't able to save you myself. In Atlantis, Izuku was laying on his bed in his room. He hadn't really left the palace ever since his massive transformation 5 days ago, and to be honest he can't leave. His body is sore and every move hurts and he easily gets cramps. His mom once brought Arthur Jr. into his room and Izuku couldn't even hold him because his arms cramped so bad that he literally was stuck like a statue. His mom had to send for a physiotherapist to get his body moving again. Izuku. I am never gonna grow this big ever again. The door to Izuku's room opens. Chula. Hey Izuku. Hey Chula. Chula. Still not feeling better. Izuku. Well, everything is fine besides the fact that I can't move. Chula. Then everything is good. Brought you something to eat. Izuku. How is everything going up there by the way? Chula. Well, the Surfacer are still going crazy about you. Italy and Turkey are actually working on a petition which forbids you from entering the Mediterranean. Izuku. Wow, and I thought that only happens because of Luther. Chula. Oh yeah, they also found the dead body of both Luther and All for One. Izuku. What, really? Chula. Yup, apparently they killed each other in a fight. Open your mouth. Chula held a fork with food in front of his mouth. Izuku. I am not a little child, you know. Chula. Oh I know, but you also can't move at the moment, so now open up. Izuku rolls his eyes before opening his mouth. It was silent afterward as Chula fed Izuku, both of them just being glad to be able to spend time together. The silence lasted till the plate was empty and Chula stood up to take it away, but before she left she leaned down and kissed Izuku on the lips. Chula. Get better soon. Izuku smirking. I am trying my best, my lady. Aizawa. Good morning class. Class. Good morning Aizawa-sensei. Aizawa. As all of you know, because of the events 5 days ago, the city is still in disarray. Aizawa looked at his students as the emotion of their faces ranged from serious to sad. The reason for that was that despite the hero's best efforts they didn't manage to save Bakugo Katsuki. They found his broken and twisted body underneath the rubble of the building he was held captive. Aizawa. Anyways, the staff of UA decided that the school and students will help with the cleanup. You can wear your hero suit or not, I don't care. We meet an hour in front of the school. Aizawa walks out as the students of Class 1A made their way to the changing rooms. Jiro. Still can't believe that Bakugo is dead. Mina. Yeah, it's weird to go to school without hearing him screaming around. Uraraka. First Iida, now Bakugo, and we aren't even through our first year. Momo. Each one of us knew what risks we agreed to as we decided to become heroes. Uraraka. But we aren't heroes yet, we are students. Tsuyu. Hero students, if we aren't ready to give our life now, then we won't be ready once we are heroes. Izumi listened to the ongoing conversation. She barely slept the last days after she heard of Katsuki's death. Sighing, she closes her locker and walks out of the building. She looked up at the clear sky, not one cloud was there, and she sighs again. Izumi. I am sorry I couldn't save you, Kachan. It took another 2 weeks before Izuku finally was able to walk and move without pain, but the doctor said to him to not overdo it and he wouldn't, or at least he would try. But right now he had to worry about other things. Taking a deep breath, he stepped through the doors of the Hall of Justice to face all of the reporters that were screaming questions to his direction or tried to take a picture of him. He then stepped up to the podium and took another deep breath before starting to speak. Izuku. I know a lot of you have questions for me and I am not sure that if I will be able to answer them all. But to give you some answers to your questions. No, I didn't know I could grow so big, and no, I didn't do it on purpose. It was a rush of the moment action. Reporter. What do you say about the accusations about being a threat? Izuku. Well, I can understand where those accusations come from and I won't deny that they are made for a valid reason. Though I don't intend to become a threat, my powers may seem like I do, but I could care less about it. Izuku looked at the crowd before continuing. Izuku. People who seek power are a threat, but people who are given power can turn into one. But my powers were forced upon me, I never asked for them. Yes, I could have turned into a villain with powers like this and I could conquer the oceans. But why should I? I am happy, so power is of no use to me after all. All you get from seeking power is that you end up alone. Abandoned by those you once loved, and that isn't a life that I seek for. Vandale Savage stood in front of the monitors that connected him to the rest of the members of the Light. Savage. Luther is gone. This may delay our plans, but not too much. Clarion. Was only a matter of time till that idiot gets himself killed, honestly. Savage. Whatever, proceed with the plans as told, but for now keep away from Atlantis. One story ends, but the story of the hero of Atlantis was only beginning. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Now we will see you in the next video.